Good morning, team. What's going on, everybody? We got our coffees ready. We are here on Zoom. Boom. Okay. Can everybody see the screens? Can everybody hear me? Is everything looking good? Is everyone feeling good? Has everyone's weeks gone well? Beautiful, beautiful. So, good morning, beautiful members. First of all, happy Mother's Day to all of you. Even if you're not mothers, go and wish your mothers or the mothers that you know a beautiful little Mother's Day. Seems like Ment just woke up. I just have not had my coffee today, sir. So, and also my hair is a little bit screwed up from the shower, but it is what it is. Beautiful. Beautiful day. Yeah, we have to wait for the first coffee kick to come in. So, what's up, guys? Welcome to... Do you guys know what webinar we're on here? I usually say it because I like to keep it in track for when I rewatch them. Because yes, guys, even I rewatch my own webinars. No way. Isn't that fucking wild? Welcome to webinar 152, guys. It's a pleasure to have everybody here today. Just very quickly, welcome to all returning members. That's many of you. And welcome to any brand new members. That's some of you. I usually start these off by saying that you found your way to a very, very good community, a very good spot. And the fact that you've shown up today, if you've shown up or you're watching this later today or later in the week, good. You're doing the thing that's required of you. You're doing the thing that's going to propel you infinitely forward, to put it simply, right? One of the main things that I've given as a kind of follow this path to any brand new member is make sure you've seen the recent, basically 10 to 20 webinars. It's one of the best ways and one of the best courses on its own that give you a fundamental understanding of exactly how we follow markets. Because you're looking at 10 to 20 webinars, that's the equivalent of how much time, guys? Does anybody know? If we're talking not time of watching, but 20 webinars is 20 Sundays, which is this many weeks. It's all, is that right? Is 140 days. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, 20 webinars is 20 weeks. I'm so dumb. Which puts us at around 5 months. So you get to basically get half a year of understanding of what has Ment, what have the members behind Ment, what have the people that are here been using for the last 5 months? What have they been watching? Why have they been watching it? What kind of trades were taken? What were they talking about? When you can look at the recent 20 webinars, which are 5 months, so basically half a year, and get to see it firsthand, get to see firsthand how, we segued from watching this thing into no longer watching it, how we segued from watching gold and to continue watching it into even last week. For any of you guys that were here last week, does anyone remember what we spoke about in regards to gold and NASDAQ specifically? We spoke about the fact that these things are looking like they have mighty money coming into them and that they have a very, very good chance of starting to give us moves and setups and all the things that we look for, right? And then lo and behold, this upcoming week, what did we see? Let me make sure that the voice is being recorded. It is. We look good. Okay. What did we see, right? We saw this week that exact thing happen. Hopefully I can... Here we go. We'll just make it really simple. But right here, this is the Sunday that we had our webinar. And I said, this is the first time we've finally made our way higher. We're coming out of whatever this stage one was, and we should start seeing price aim. Does anyone remember the numbers that I gave you as a thing that we would aim for as a stage two? Because we understand that as markets move from stage one to stage two, stage one to stage two, they often tend to expand in a similar manner, always in the same kind of way. Also, when I draw these, can you guys see these, or are these really hard to see? Good? All fine? Okay, good. Perfect. So what we spoke about this week was that, hey, we've staged one for a while. We're in a beautiful reaccumulation, and the odds are is that we're going to start to reach up, start pausing, and then have a reach up into this 18,713, 19,195. I haven't moved these from last week whatsoever at all. And what are you starting to see? Prices made their reach at the beginning of the week. Prices have now gone into stage one. And can any of you, before I even talk about the upcoming week, guess what my upcoming week watch list is going to be and what my upcoming week plays are going to be in regards to what I'm likely going to be watching to get in on? Straight up. Right? You should be able to look at this and understand that money and the way money enters the markets isn't some like completely random thing. Yes, the thing that the market can do next is relatively random, but the markets that I'm going to trade and the markets that I'm going to get involved on and why I'm going to get involved on them are not random in the slightest. They have a concrete understanding or story behind them. They show that concrete story over and over and over again before I ever get involved. And then once I'm involved, it either plays out or I get to sit out, which is the beauty of trading. You start to understand that, you know, the things you're doing don't necessarily mean that you have to be losing money. So you either are doing something and you get to expand your edge, or you're doing something but you don't get to see any reward from it, right? Maki says, looking forward for the crypto screener function, testing my system on the weekend. Yeah, we just got a prototype, so it's not available yet, but you guys can see on the right hand side of my screen here, I have 3 stocks. I traded these 3 stocks this week specifically, and you can see there is a screener at the moment that's not available yet to the team because it's in complete beta, so we're testing a lot. But you can see that we started to properly orient the stock data and see the stock data. So hopefully with a little bit more time, we'll be able to add in the stocks, the cryptos, and all the other beautiful things that'll come into the screener, and then start work on filters and more simple features and filters for the team to make it more streamlined and better and all this stuff. So can we get early access? No, because it doesn't work perfectly yet. Priscilla says, when you trade stocks, are they options? No, they are not. They're the actual stock. So okay, back to the thing before. Welcome all new members. You guys are in the right area. Today, as always, questions and anything are fully allowed. Feel free to ask anything. Feel free to just fucking talk, say whatever you guys want, you know. I love to riff with the team. It usually spawns more questions and more intrigue and other market analysis because, guys, I don't remember everything that happens in any given week, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes on. I'll definitely be breaking down some more stuff, but yeah, that's just how it goes. But you guys are right. So like last week, you know, we spoke about this NQ. We spoke about exactly how we'd want to start seeing this thing deliver, and we told you guys exactly how we'd want to see it deliver into these highs. And then similarly, as we took a look at the screener itself, right, there's been a very, very clear story being told by NASDAQ, let's say, or by gold, let's say. And as a result, as a week started, this was not traded, this is tested based on the new course I'm putting together, but as the week started, well, we traded the move higher, right? This is the move we traded higher with the same exact understanding of stage 1, stage 2. Now, again, my charts look really cluttered right now. I've been going really heavy on putting together the new member section. So this is made up of a lot of images and I just never cleared it. But I'm going to scroll up here and go through some questions for the start of the day. There we are. But yes, you know, just a few quick updates before we get into questions and talking over the webinar and looking at some markets. You know, functionality of this is being worked on. There's still a few kinks and bugs and some stuff is not working properly, and we still need to build out a proper front end that allows you guys to properly see it so it's not all cluttered. But it's starting to look really good. It's starting to work very well. It's definitely pointed my eyes into the direction of some markets that I should be watching, and that's paid off. All these trades that I've been taking on stocks, so I'm going to actually show you this. I just filled them out recently, but you can see they've been on extremely reduced risk, basically because of position sizing. But a lot, like this one was half my normal risk. This one was a quarter of my normal risk. This one was half my normal risk. So yeah, you can see that at the moment it's much lower risk due to position sizing, stuff that I will also cover in the brand new member section that I'm working on right now. But, very, very minor, about 1 RR or so gained off these, which is, nothing to laugh about. 1 RR, based on the kind of accounts you're trading, can be a substantial feat, or it can be more than enough for a lot of people, right? The way I've always thought about this, even for myself, just so you guys know, when I have like normal 1 RR runners, it's not always like this insane thing that I'm so happy about. I mean, I am, because I know the math is playing out. But I always ask myself something along the lines of, okay, Anton, if this is if you've worked yourself up to a $10 million account, and you're trading a $10 million account now, and you're trading 0.5% risk per RR, can anyone tell me what a 1 RR gain, just a little partial, whatever it might have been, and it's 1 RR, what's that equivalent to? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so yeah, some people are giving me some random answers, so I'll have to do the math myself. So you're trading a 10 mil account at 0.5% risk, right? So if you win a trade, or you have a small winner of 1 RR, and it's 50K, the question now becomes, do you care that your week had a 1 RR gain? Or that your week wasn't an insane runner, and your week wasn't an insane, just like you got to take so many trades and got to take so many losses. What happens when this starts to become your equivalent of 1 RR? And at that point, the further question is, do you become happier with taking less trades and more break-evens? Or are you happier with taking as many trades as you can to get as many more losses on the table as you can, right? All of a sudden, you start recognizing that taking break-evens is one of the best things in the world, right? You start looking at your actual capital as a form of like, holy shit, 1 RR is a measure of this amount of money, which is this amount of, let's say, life juice. If you want to make a mathematical formula for money and life juice, right? Because some of us need, let's say, 30K a year for our life juice, right? So if your one trade or 1 RR in a week gives you enough life juice for now 2 years or 1.5 years based on who you are and where you live in the world, are you going to look at this number and be like, I don't know how I feel about 1 RR. I think I need to figure out the better system, the better runner. I need to find out how I can really stick it to the fucking markets, Or are you going to sit there and go, hey, even if this was my entire week, are you really happy with 0.9 RR gain, 0.3 RR gain, minus 0.1 RR gain? I would argue this is a phenomenal week for someone that, wasn't trading as much, wasn't watching as much stuff, only had their eyes on a few things, right? This is a very, very good thing. So, always think in relative terms. Don't get ahead of yourself, and don't change your system because of where you are right now. I think it's just the kind of starting point of today. I had a one-on-one this week as well that had a lot to do, some aspects of it had a lot to do with what we're talking about right now. And I'm actually going to release it to everyone here right after this webinar's released. So by tonight or by tomorrow, you guys will all have access to the one-on-one. And it's really, really good because there's a lot of technical, actual technical analysis, but there's also a ton of this relativity and comparability. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us compare where we are now to what it actually means, right? A lot of us, what is 5RR on a 25K funded account? If you're risking 0.25% a trade, because, on average, people are going to be risking less on a funded account. So let's say you're with Ment Funding. What is 25K? So let's do the math, right? If you just make, so if you're trading a 25K Ment Funding account and you're only risking 0.25%, you're risking $62 a trade. And if you make 5 RR in a week, do you look at this and are you extremely satisfied with the number, the reward number generated by that account? Or do you guys think that most people are not as satisfied with this number? Not about the RR, not about the performance, but just with the number. The reality, even people here today, right, is you'll likely not be satisfied with $300 in a week. Based on who you are. Again, I hate trying to do numbers because based on who you are and where you are in the world, exactly like Pez said himself, based on who you are, where you are in the world, how you live, the level, the cost of living, right? This number could be insane for you and just a huge change, or it could be like, this does not make a dent in my income and I need to stick to my current job because that's not enough. But the point is, that's what's going to happen. A lot of us begin to compare where we are now to this number right here, okay? And that's one of the worst things we can do, because 5RR in a week is fucking wild, right? And then if you take this and you put it to a 100K account, a 100K Ment funding account, and again, if you risk 0.25% on a Ment funding account, is that generally okay with risk practices? I know it's higher, but for a normal risk of ruin, do you think that risk is okay based on the fact that, you know, a firm is taking on your liability for the most part, whatever you want to consider, right? I would say yes. So, you know, on a 100K account, now all of a sudden that exact same system has pulled $1,250 out of a week. Now all of a sudden the percentage of members or of people that look at that and say, hey, 1 week for $1,250, that's not that bad. That puts me at around 30K a year, and that puts me at what I would have been making if I was doing this. So this is pretty good for me, right? And all of a sudden, this, or like I think 40K, then all of a sudden on a 100K account, that same result, even though that's not a consistent result, right? We're just looking at an example, becomes all of a sudden something that you're like, hey, it's not bad, but it's the exact same result as a 25K account. Now, if we prorate that to a $1 million Ment funding account, you just did 12K in a week with that same exact RR return as a 25K. And now, which ones of you here are dissatisfied, right, with that return? Now, there's going to be some fucking crazy guy that says, I'm dissatisfied. Me, I need to be at the top of the mountain. But this is a very, very, very good return, as a lot of you know, right? So the thing I just want to start today off with is a recognition of the fact that relativity and comparison, right? Comparison right now to the number that you're making is a very terrible way to do it. Relativity is the only way that you should think, right? If everything that you're doing right now, if the curve that you have in front of you, and you look at the curve and you're like, I love this curve. But then if the curve says 25K, let's say it's a 25K account. If you look at this, because again, remember, this is my results over the last around 4 months, 3 to 4 months. So on a 25K account at 0.5% risk, which I wouldn't do on a prop firm, right? But on a normal account, personal account, you've made about, what is this? Am I dumb? 20K, 15K. Now 15K in 3 months, 4 months is still really, really good for some people. And you might be looking at this and say, hey, I'm actually really happy with this. But again, not a lot of us start at this rate. A lot of you are going to start on a funded account, likely that's 25K or higher. So your actual risk is going to be lowered. You might even be at 0.2%. This is how I used to trade. So again, you know, this is now a gain of 5K over 3 months. And all of a sudden, there may be, and actually probably is, some dissatisfaction with that kind of result. And then a lot of you might actually look at this and say, hey, Ment, you know, this is my curve. Here's how my curve looks, but, you know, I don't know if this is enough. Like, can I really become a full-time trader with this? And all of a sudden, you know, they've forgotten to ask themselves about the relativity question, right? You're not going to be stuck at this value for the rest of your life. Let me ask you guys a real question, right? Okay, here it goes. If you have a profitable system, is there any reason that if you start with a 25K prop firm account, that you're going to still be on a 25K prop firm account a year and a half later? Yes or no? Olay says yes. I would say no. Unless you just love the return that you have on a 25K and you don't even care about scaling it. But the reality is if you're profitable, if you have a profitable edge, there is zero reason that after a year, you would still be trading a 25K account. That account would grow to 30K or a funded 50K or a funded 100K. Because oftentimes you'll use the profit of the 20, exactly like Vlad said, you'll use the profit of the 25K to reinvest into either a prop or your own personal account, right? And all of a sudden, this number, the next year, might look like something like this. Oh, sorry. If you lose everything. A 150K Ment funding account, let's say. And now all of a sudden, those same 3 months, instead of being worth 5K, are worth 31K. Okay? And then I ask you the same question. Would a lot of you be dissatisfied with 31K in 3 months? The answer should be fuck no, right? Because you've already put yourself above, mathematically, you've put yourself above and beyond all earning. And yeah, exactly, Peace Pod. This is with 0.2% risk. Yes, right? And that's still with prop. Here's 0.5% risk. About 100K return, right? So yeah, around like 90K. So you need to start thinking in relativity. You have the ability and the tools to play with these numbers to truly see that for yourself. So you don't have to sit there and make up numbers and be like, when am I ever going to make it? Is trading profitable? Can it ever be profitable? I don't believe in trade, whatever it might be. Now, all of a sudden, you have a way to truly see that firsthand. You have a way to understand that what you're doing is, going to work itself up to profitability, right? I'm gonna scroll up here and go through some stuff, but there you guys go. And again, just back to the original thing, because I'm ADD'd out right now. Make sure that if you're new, you've taken the note down to watch the most recent 10 to 20 webinars. Just the recent 10 to 20. That's going to be a better course for you than anything you've consumed prior, outside and inside of this mentorship, because you're going to see firsthand how the tools that we use are used week after week on the same markets or on different markets, why we're looking at markets, why we're not looking at them, how we analyze a market before it happens, how we look at something the week before and decide that we're going to be, how we look at something the week before and decide that we're going to trade it, and then how it actually ends up delivering, how we look at something the week before and how we talk about how we're going to trade it, and then how it actually ends up delivering. So again, today we'll walk over like the trades here as well, right? But this was my trade. This is like my trade of the week. This was an insane trade. I still look at trades like this, and I even said it myself in the MetaFX trade ideas. I want to find ways to partial less and make more, right? Because just one less partial in this would have amounted to an extra 3RR or 4RR in gains, right? Which is crazy. So if I can work on partialing better or having management rules that are a little bit better, but let me stick in the move, I can make probably, even more. But it goes to show that even with substandard rules or very simple rules, you can still start making money, which is a very, very important thing. And again, none of what I say right now is a guarantee of any sort. I'm not saying that, hey, you make simple rules, you're going to make money at all. I'm just telling you what I've noticed from my own personal life, from other members that I've worked with, from members that have posted their results and everything that goes alongside that. But again, it's not a guarantee for you guys. You guys know that, but I have to say that, so. Nico says, coffee, open the webinar, ready for webinar, put kids to sleep, webinar ready. Let's go, man. Let's go. Good night to the kids. So good to see so many familiar faces, and it's a beauty to see so many new faces as well. I see a lot of you here as a first time as well, so welcome, guys. I hope you feel I hope you feel welcomed. And yeah, happy Mother's Day to absolutely everybody. Please make sure you call whoever you know, any woman that's actually a mother, okay? Don't go crazy. What's up, girl? Happy Mother's Day. Go let your actual mothers know, or any mother, whatever, the barista at Starbucks, whatever you feel like. Ole says, I rewatched the recent 10 Webbies this last week. Good. What did you learn from them, Ole? What did you learn, bro? And yeah, that's how you should think about it, right? So Ole, just in the last week, consumed over half a year of data. That's all that happened, right? Just think about what that means. Like, he consumed half a year in 1 week. That's fucking... You don't get that anywhere else, I don't think. Like, that's fucking wild. I mean, you get on TradingView, right? You can just go like this. Look at this, ready? I just consumed 2015 to 2024. I just consumed that all. Now I can go in and start analyzing all of it to create a real story about what's going on, how I would trade it. But that's really what's happening there. So yeah. You are not dumb, Papa meant. Listen, when it comes to anything that's not chart related, I'm pretty dumb, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Maki says, whatever the screener gives out, I guess. Yeah, that's also a good answer. So for the upcoming week, you know, what am I going to be oh, that's the wrong one. What am I going to be watching? Likely whatever the screener shows me to watch, right? You're fully correct about that. That's one way, right? That's one way to start finding things. And again, we're adding a few things to make it even better, but that's one way to start looking for things. But another way is you can kind of look at what I've been watching, right? So what am I likely going to watch? The stuff that I've been watching, right? NQ has been super clean. This is NASDAQ, US 100. I traded this thing higher. I had a really good trade on it. I'm going to keep looking to take it higher. There's no reason I shouldn't. Gold, I'm going to keep looking to take it higher. I mean, I'm probably going to look for like a pause on it. You can see I kind of expect maybe a little bit of a pause on it, but I want to look to take it higher. Same exact thing. Yeah. Same as last week, right? A lot of things don't just randomly change. So Priscilla asked, where do I trade stocks or the options? No, I trade so I answered you earlier, but I trade just the actual stock. I buy the actual stock and shares. I've never traded options. Well, I did once and I lost money because it's a whole different animal. Like the risk, the way you calculate risk is super different. The time element now exists and I'm not one for time. Okay. I just simply trade the move. And I don't want to worry about all that. Pay a premium, don't pay a premium, get paid a premium. It's so stupid. You know, like I heard a good quote one time and I think a lot of you should like hear this and truly stick to it for any of you thinking about options. Until you make a few $1 million trading, you shouldn't even consider options. And then funny enough, once you've made a few $1 million trading, you will understand why you shouldn't trade options. So like, it's like the funniest thing ever. But what I will add is that once you've made your first few 100 millions, you can start considering options. And you'll understand why by that point. But before then, there's really no need. And every little options person you see on YouTube, you know, here's the strategy that's going to make you a fuck ton of money. Stop. Don't do it. Trust me. Just don't do it. Don't give in. Hello, Mohan. Mohan says, hey, man, how do you tell sometimes that price will move from here, but sometimes comes a little lower and then go? Okay, so I don't know exactly what that question means, but I believe what you're asking is like, how do you know based on, you know, like what you draw out? So like, let's look at NQ, because this is an example of something last week that I drew out, right? How do you know based on what you drew here that, you know, prices just want it to go here and then maybe stop around here and then go? Well, one aspect of it comes from, of course, experience and data collection, but another aspect of it comes from looking at the actual concept in regards to prior action. So the concept of how I expected this to deliver, as you can see how I drew it out, was based on stage 1s and stage 2s. Stage 1s and stage 2s are simply the general principle through which a market moves, right? Stage 1 and stage 2. This is how markets tend to move, right? Or whatever. So if I understand that and I look at prior stage 1s and a stage 2s, stage 1s or longer term stage 1s made up of new stage 1s, 2s, stage 1s and 2s and stage 1s and 2s and stage 1s and 2s, on average I should be able to tell that they move around this much. So on average, if this is going to start a stage 2, which is what I expected, because we just came out of either a long-term stage 1 or some inside stage 1 here, and now it's making a stage 2, I should expect that price during this week, that day that we spoke about it, should reach at least this week to somewhere around here. Don't know exactly where. And then from there, should probably go sideways for a little bit to probably let the MAs catch up, which is something that, again, I've noticed from testing in terms of how prices move. You can look left and see the same thing. Price goes, lets the MAs catch up, it 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 goes. So I expect the MAs to catch up a bit, which is what they're doing. And then I expect it next week to go. How much can it go? Likely similar to what we saw play out just now. So if I kind of draw out a general stage 2, I can expect that price is going to make its way this upcoming week into somewhere around here, right? Or maybe a little bit lower. However you wanna play that. But all I know is that I want to be very bullish on this. And if it sets up beautiful reasons to go bullish on a lower time frame, I want to be in it. Or if it starts coming down a little bit, I know that's part of still a potential stage 1. Let the MAs catch up, and then I can look to get involved on the stage 2 here. That'll likely deliver into these points here. So again, that is how I do it, right? That's how I predict price every single day. I use the same concepts taught here over and over and over again. I put them together to model the best potential action that price can undergo to deliver that. I make sure that there is consistency behind price and its actual accumulation, or its actual institutional bullishness, or its institutional like kind of story. I make sure that that's in line with the models, right? This is moving in reaccumulation. I make sure that's in line with a lower time frame delivery. Accumulation begins to deliver exactly what I want to see, continues to deliver, expected to continue to deliver, because now it's going to be made up of likely new stage ones into stage 1, 2. 1, 2. What are we in right now? A 1. What is this going to likely result in the upcoming week? 2. So you know that this is going to likely start making a move here, and it's likely going to give you a setup either at the start of the week or later in the week around this point here, or it might come down. And then again, this is something I haven't specifically taught yet, but it's going to be in the remastered. But you can set up a move that starts making a move here and then starts making the ICIs here, right? This is kind of, think about this as demand validation or fractalized MB, and starts to move. So I know what the week is going to look like if I'm going to be trading it, right? And how do I do it? Well, I put together the exact concepts I teach you, right? I make sure that everything is in line before I start watching for the actual trades. And then I watch for the actual trades given that the market is in a good context, which it is, right? It ticks off those boxes. So I go for it. Nico says, what is the F, the B, and the P? So yeah, okay. So some of you might have noticed as I started to label a few things on charts. You know, I wouldn't pay too much attention to it right now, but all I'm doing right now, so I'll give you guys a sneak peek, why not? All I'm doing right now is I'm building out, as you guys know, a much deeper course, right? So from 0, 0, 0 to hero to everything. But what that comes with, so you can see I've been working really hard on this thing like all week, and I'm annotating everything. So all that I'm doing is I'm creating a few more cycles. Basically, the way I want you to think about it is cycles to the stage 1s and 2s to the models. So I'm giving you a better way to view, you know, where are you in a move? Is this move likely to continue, or are we gonna go sideways now for a while? Like, is this likely to now keep making a move, or is it likely to now go sideways for a while before going? So I'm trying to give you guys real steps in the process, using the exact same stuff that we've always used, but I'm giving you a way to view it from a standard of like cycles. How's money entering this? Has the money entered in it? Has the money entered in it through the phases that we look for? And are those phases now complete, or can you expect them to continue? So that's what these labels are. So don't worry about them just yet, but the very simple notion of it is that they're a demonstration of normal stage 1s and 2s, demand, supply, the exact things that we've done forever, and they're going to be part of this thing here. And you know, it'll all be taught. But you can see same thing, right? You have the stage 1s and 2s, but I've created labels for them so you understand where you are in a move, so you know when to walk away, because that's one of the most important things in trading. A lot of you know that. You need to be able to understand when is it time for me to walk away, even though the move is super clear and it looks super clean and it looks amazing, right? Like for instance, right, like on NASDAQ even, right? I walked away from this move after the failure here because I have to give it time to now reset, right? I understand that. And it's because of where we are in the cycle of this move, from stage 1s and 2s, from the models and everything, but where we are in that cycle of the move here, right? So I have to wait just a little bit for it to actually show you. Like this is like the end all be all that you will come to learn. These exact like phases right here, which is really, really cool. And you know, it's all in line with everything you've learned before, right? How do MBs create actual moves higher? You know, how do new ones start? You can see what I expect on this. Like there's no reason, again, NASDAQ, QQQ, US 100, US 100, whatever you want to call them, NQ, there's no reason that they can't make this move here. And it's actually likely. But the question now is it going to go through the phases that's going to allow this thing to deliver, right? So that's my goal right now, Nico specifically, and everybody else, right? So just so you guys know. And again, like I'm working so hard on getting this thing out as fast as I can. You know, I hate giving timeframes, but I should have a good starter out within likely 2 weeks. I just want to make sure it's really high end and makes a lot of sense to anybody watching. And that includes new members. So Mohan sends his little thing here. Yeah, dude, this looks really good. You're entering on a 15-minute. That's really good to see. Higher loss rate, lower win rate. So it looks like you have a higher R-based system. That's cool to see as well. So far, max drawdown is 14.89. Do you not have the most updated one? I think me and Dan are working on one that has percentage, and also this risk of ruin does not look does not look correct as well. We need to figure out what's going on there. So we will, but yeah. I'll keep this on here. There we go. So John says, hey Anton, in the past you've talked about waiting to see fresh price following a range-bound chop. Can you talk about more what you consider fresh price? So this will actually help a lot once we start talking about cycles, but like this is an example of fresh price where prices went, fucked off for a while and it started making new fresh cycles or making its way back above MAs and pushing to new highs and starting a new stage 1, stage 2 based move that's not stuck in a longer term stage 1. So for instance, you know, like there's this stage 1 that's happening here on a fractal, and then you have stage 1, 2, stage 1, stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, and it's moving in tandem with what you want to see. But now, so consider this, John. So now if prices rolled over, okay, and then came up and came down and then started doing something like this, okay, now what's going to happen is this fractal of the stage 1 has become infinitely longer, and the inside of whatever's happening here is now also making a fractal stage 1 that's infinitely longer. So now that's being made up of new maybe stage 1s and stage 2s, but now all of a sudden as you look at this, you should be able to see that there is a cluster, let's call it that way, right, of stage 1s kind of overlapping. So what that leads me to is this understanding of chop. That's really what chop comes from. That's a market that I would not want to trade. It's no longer creating fresh, there's no longer fresh money coming into this that wants to allow the occurring trend to continue. Instead, the money that comes in is now no longer capable of continuing to push that market in a given direction. So a really good example of this is like silver recently, right? Or a few weeks ago. If you remember when price was here, that's what price was doing. I told you I wouldn't touch this thing until it made its way where? Up here, right? Beyond this chop. Because what was happening is across multiple time frames, look at this. You had the stage 1 chop of back here. So this was all stage 1 chop. Within that, you had new stage 1 chop here, stage 1 chop, stage 1 chop, stage 1 chop. So now, even though you have stage 1, stage 2, stage 1, stage 2, all these stage 1s and 2s are happening within the precursor multi-time frame stage 1 chop of higher time frames. So the likelihood of those succeeding becomes infinitely lower, which is why I told you I'd wait for price to make its way away from this stage 1 chop and then begin to follow it in new fresh action, because once price has made its way here, now new money has come in a way that has pushed itself beyond the chop of prior ranges, of prior stage 1s, of prior multi-time frame back and forth. And then at that point, you can see now we could expect to follow it, because now you have this stage 1 that's now being made up of, just like on NASDAQ and just like on gold, new 1s into 2s, 1s into 2s. Next week, this week, 1 into 2. Right? There's that expectation now on price that's not being brought down by some kind of chop and by a ton of sideways market action across multiple time frames, and by just zooming out you can see it, right? Now you've made your way outside of it and it's existing within a new fresh plane, okay? So I hope that gives you a little bit of like insight right there as to how that works, right? And then what the fuck? My control key doesn't work. And the cool thing is that with the rework section that I'm working on right now, right, you're gonna have a few more phases that you can add to this that give you a chance to be like, okay, you know, has a new phase potentially started now that I could expect? But this is a good example right here where, like, if prices did this, right, this would become a context just like silver. And I would ignore it now until price probably made its way above these points, because at that point new money has come in such a way that now we've been able to push beyond all the new supply and demand that got generated here, and now this demand can overtake that supply and start new moves higher, right? And that's where I'm willing to trade. I'm not willing to trade in this nonsense, but here you are part of that fresh action, so there's absolutely no reason that I shouldn't be able to look for trades there, right? So that's how I want you to think about that. I hope that kind of, here, I'll scroll down in 1 second just to see, but I hope that that helps you kind of see that. Damn, I drew a lot of stuff, didn't I? I hope my keyboard's not too loud, guys. I'm assuming it's pretty loud. Shit. Okay, let me scroll down to make sure that made sense for John. So John, what are we looking like? I don't know if you wrote some, but I'll let you write it now. You can repeat. I think so. Well, that's you know, that's how I'm considering when you're too far range bound, right? So like this was a good example right here, right? So if you look at this, John, right, back here, as this higher time from stage 1 started, this is the exact same moment as we have right now. stage 1, right? Or stage 1, stage 2, stage 1, stage 2. This is where I started trading, right? I was interested in going long. I was ready to take this thing long, right? I was looking for reasons to go long because it was it's fresh now. But then all of a sudden it fails again. So this initial stage 1 of like whatever this is becomes extended. It becomes very long term. So now we're in a longer term stage 1 here. And within that now, right, these new mini stage 1s and 2s, so like 1, 2, become less evident or become less important because now they're part of this overall chop. And then again, it happens again, right? 1 into 2. Again, you could start looking here, but you're still part of all this chop. So I'm waiting. But then right here, you get this one. As this moves higher right here, you've changed the underlying kind of money that's been moving into this. And the story's now been changed by this right here. Because now fresh money has entered this, and now you can expect it to keep going, and then it does, right? Anton, the red path tool, is that institutional structure? It's MB structure, so kind of. I mean, you have multiple, right? Institutional structure is like this, right? Or mini institutional structure could be like, yeah, it could be like this. I don't know. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just a way to view like MBs, right? Because as we all know, the markets move in MBs, right? When MBs start to fail, we oftentimes either wait for new MB trends, right? Or we fail down. I see. Looking forward to the remastered course. Nice. So what about this example on NAS from this week? Yeah, so like, this is god ugly. This is pretty ugly. But there's a chance that, you know, as you make your way up here, it's become fresh, right? It doesn't have to stay above a high, right? It just has to trade above like a certain area. So for instance, let me see if I can find it. So for instance, like it really depends on higher time frame too. Ment, have you ever thought about developing a bot? No. You know, the closest thing you'll get to me developing a bot is developing software like a screener that lets you literally look at the best markets. But yeah, you like fail down, then it becomes potential accumulation, breaks down, becomes accumulation, trades above, all this nonsense, right? Fucks off down, really weird like gap down, but then starts this like 1, 2, 1, 2. So like around here, I would consider potentially, right? 1 and then maybe a 2 and then 1 and then maybe it can continue now because this becomes somewhat fresh. It could be okay here. But I don't know, looking at this, it just looks weird. It would depend a lot on context. If the context's really good, then I would maybe consider a trade inside of these areas. Because again, context overrides everything, oftentimes. But this is pretty chopped up a little bit. Yeah. Here, this doesn't matter because once price comes up, you know, this already has an institutional bearishness. It's now holding the institutional bearishness, so I wouldn't even consider here. But even then, it never gives a setup. It just fails back down. MAs are choppy. So yeah, there's nothing here for sure. This doesn't matter. These might matter. That's it. Right. Okay, let me scroll back up now. I wanna remember where we were. What stock screener do you use? Well, my good man, the one that I'm building right now. It's just in very prototype stage right now. I want to get it out to you guys as fast as I can. Don't worry, but we gotta wait a little bit. Do you remember doing an outlook on this last week? You said it was bullish and could deliver, and it did set up a nice entry for me. DJTWW. I do not remember this, but we can take a look as well. All right, so like that's the thing. You know, I look at stuff for everybody on whatever, and we'll look at this for you again right now. This is just in this huge ass range too. Look at this. But on the bright side, it's like done whatever it's done here and started to make its way higher, right? I think I spoke about this exactly the same way last week. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, and then I mean it did start that 1 into 2, 1 into 2, and then 1, right? So I said, I think last week, I said we could go 1 into 2 again. Is that where that came from? I think it was. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming. And then the 1 week, yeah, the 1 week was okay. Actually, the 1 week was pretty nice. You know, this is a little bit shitty, but then it went sideways for a bit, so that's good to see. Yeah, I mean, this can reach up. It doesn't. There's no reason it can't. Like, there's still a lot of trapped people probably up inside here, so you're probably gonna reach up and then again a failure back down. But yeah, this can go for a little run. You know, this is like a weird guy right here, but 1 hour. I mean, sorry about that. Yeah. And then like this week, yeah, you had great trades on this, to be honest, right? It finally set up. Yeah, it came out of whatever this was, then it gave you a setup, late setup. Yeah, and you could be in this thing, right? Through here. You know, I probably wouldn't be on the 5 minute, like I said. It looks like you traded the 5 minute. I would not do that, but I mean, you have the same cycle, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, it's fine. Nice, good for you if you traded that. I mean, not my kind of stock, right? Not my kind of trade. But it could work. Because, like, look at this. This is so weak compared to the market, I'm pretty sure. Like, this is the 16th of April. This was the 26th of March. Let's see. 16th of April, 26th of March. So, like, when the market was kind of just playing around and then started to decline, this thing was already, like, I mean, it gapped up. That is good. But then it started dying off. And then as the market fell down, and then what, like on the 1st of May went a little higher. 1st of May, actually, yeah, so no, you're actually right. Honestly, I don't see this as a bad stock to trade. If you could get on this, that's good, because like here it started to show that it was actually strong, so that's good. And then it went into beautiful stage 1, and then you traded it somewhere in here, right? Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a good trade. It's a really good trade. I mean, there's thousands of these things a fucking day, but honestly, looking at it, it's not bad. The only thing I hate is this long range that we're in here, because we're stuck in it. The weekly's actually really nice. And then lower, you know, you went into this weird move down and then started an accumulation, reaccumulation. Yeah. I mean, and then you traded it, I think, around here, which is like the optimal time to trade it. This was real. Actually, looking at this, analyzing it from top down, it's really good. Yeah, it's good. I like it. Well done. I hope you're not riding this up though. So like, I know you traded, I don't think trading a 5 minute is smart on this, but this is perfect. Like if you entered this thing, 0.67 ATR, so you're probably looking at like a stop here. And then as the daily started going, yeah, so like on this day, you're moving this to stop loss to break even, done. Super easy, stop loss to break even. And now you're just managing this thing. You probably just try to let this thing go higher now. You know, let it pause, because NQ is probably going to pause for a sec, so let it pause, and then let this MA catch up a little bit, and then boom. Yeah, this should honestly take off. This looks really good. Yeah, this thing wants to go higher right now. There's no reason it can't. At least like 26. Yeah, keep it up, dude. This is a phenomenal trade. Good job. Shizen says, sorry, do you mean it's getting integrated in TradingView, or you just copy-pasted it now? No, I copy-pasted it. This is not in TradingView. I copy-pasted this thing, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, we have a prototype, but it still gathers data a little bit wrong. There's still some fuck ups. It's a skeleton right now. It's not accessible to many people, because remember, to have it accessible to many people, you have to pay large amounts to have that data processed to everyone that owns it, to has it. So we're just testing it right now, make sure everything works, because I don't want to give you guys a half-assed product. Shizen says, with that account size, makes sense to just be a swing trader or even long-term position. Yeah, it could. Stan says, meant if I'm in a trade and it goes into profit and I reach 3 RR on the trading view and on the broker I don't, should I take the partial or not? I would say yes. So it's a good question. You know, this is the question where, like, if you analyze in TradingView and then your actual trade is at 3 RR on TradingView, so you got in, the price is here now, right? But on your actual broker, it's like this, and it's like 2.6 RR. My answer is yes, you need to partial here. And the reason for that is because this is what you've tested. This is what your data has shown you to work. So you need to follow those rules. You can't manipulate them and be like, oh, but my entry got here because of slippage, so I have to now partial here. It's like, you can't do that. You have to maintain the rules of the analysis, right? Because that's what you've tested. And then you can take into account this difference as slippage or commission or whatever you want. But you need to make sure you follow those same rules, 100%. This guy says 1 trade a week, more time for other businesses and enjoying life. Yes, sir. Shizen says you can take 1 trade every month that follows your best setup and be a millionaire. Yes, you can. That is completely true. I wanna, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna riff off of what Shizen just said there for 1 second. This is a beautiful thing, by the way, as I say this. A lot of the traders that you guys have maybe looked up to, maybe read interviews about, all this stuff, whatever it might have been, that have pulled hundreds of millions of dollars from the market and maybe have done it consistently over years. When you look into their results and you ask them, you know, like what's kind of responsible for that? How do you do that? The funny thing is I'm actually going to ask you guys a crazy question. So there's a guy that made like 20 mil or something crazy, like a really big number. A huge return. He had like 300% return or higher in a year. Now, he's a stock trader. So he trades stocks. He analyzes, you know, screens stocks, looks at stocks, trades the stocks. And then, so he traded stocks for a year. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. How many stocks? Okay, he traded a lot of stocks. But of the stocks he traded, how many do you think accounted for over 90% of the gains that he had on his account over that year? How many stocks do you think accounted for that? Damn, how do you guys know the answer? What the fuck? All right, fuck you guys. But yes, he traded probably like 100 plus stocks or more. But the funny thing is, he made almost all his money, okay, on around 3 stocks, 3 plays that entire year. And those were enough to make him over 100% up play on his account. And the way I want you to think about this is like, most trades that you're gonna take, right, are gonna maybe do something like this. Like, let's say we're just playing on this thing, right? Let's say you take a trade, whatever, you know, something simple. Maybe you say something in here, it makes a move, then it breaks even. Okay, that's it. You take a move, right? Then it breaks even. Okay, whatever. You take a move, maybe somewhere in here, and then it breaks even on this candle. You know, you take a move, it does it, it breaks even on this candle after you take a partial. You take a move, you make some money, it breaks even on this candle. You take a move, wait, all of a sudden, it didn't break even. Wait a second. And all of a sudden, 1 trade in that entire year just made you 40 RR plus on your account, right? This is how it works. So this is where you see plus 2 RR, plus 4 RR, plus 0.2 RR, plus 0.1 RR, plus 30 RR. Right? This is where that comes from. And then you start realizing that it's not based on like luck or that you were in the right place at the right time. You start realizing that the person just followed rules, and eventually the rules created a scenario where they made money. Hey guys, hello, my name is Anton. You know what I do every single week? I follow simple rules, and they sometimes make me a little bit of money. I follow simple rules, and they sometimes make me a little bit of money. I follow my rules, and sometimes the trade is fucking bonkers and makes me a lot of money. And then you look at it and you say, wow, he was so lucky. He was in the right place at the right time. He is just the lucky guy. But the reality is, I've been getting lucky since the beginning of my trading. You want to know why? Because I'm following very basic rules that give me the opportunity to have one winner in the future make up for everything and then some. So then you get to a point where, where is it? You get to a point where one individual trade, and all of a sudden your equity curve is at all-time highs. One single trade and your equity curve has just made its way to all-time highs, right? That's how it happens. It doesn't happen because I'm the fucking genius, right? All these trades here, look at these guys, okay? Look at this. Here's Fix. Here's a trade I took this week. I did not take these. These are ones I'm recording because they're based on a little bit of a different principle. So wait on those. But I took this trade. I took a partial. That's it. I'm partial and I'm moving on this now. Now, what is likely on this trade, guys? This or this? Two, right? That's it. And I'm fully happy with that. You know how most trades are gonna go? Two, 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 all year long. But guess what? This is gonna happen at some point. I don't know when, but this is gonna happen. And then when that happens, all of a sudden, I'm up 20 RR on one trade. Right? And that's it. That's all I do. I repeat rules that give me the opportunity to make a fuck ton of money with the expectation that every trade's gonna make me nothing. That's it. That's my entire goal and rule as a trader. And they call it an overnight success, exactly. And then they see this and they go, he was just on Bitcoin. Everyone that was on Bitcoin made money. Like, it doesn't matter. Anyone can make money if they were in on Bitcoin. It's like, you're not understanding the rules that allowed me to be in this, to make money on this, and then to do it consistently again, if I need to, right? The people that made money truly made money on GME. Not the people that got lucky, but the people that traded this thing and made money. That's how it happened. This trade here, guys, what did this trade here start as? I hope you all see it. This trade started as a normal bullish context, ICI, 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 ICI. That's what it started off for anyone that's a real trader. I took a basic long. It did not break me even, right? I took a long. It never came back to break even. Oh my God, I made a few $100 million for no reason. You're just lucky that you're lucky that you had GameStop. You're so lucky, man. No, I followed rules and the rules hit. Because the rules would make me money no matter what. But this is guaranteed to happen on one of your pairs over the long run of 1,000, of 2,000, of 10,000. That's it. That's how it works. That's what you're doing as a trader. That's why you are a trader. This is what you're made to basically figure out, to do for yourself. Okay? Okay, perfect. Phenomenal. We are professionals now. So. Let's get rid of all this. Right, and now we're on this. Yeah. And guess what? If this thing for any reason does this, all of a sudden I'm an overnight genius. I figured it all out, blah, 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 blah. How did you know that Fix, whatever the fuck this is, Comfort System, guys, I don't know what this thing is. Comfort Systems. How did you know that Comfort Systems was gonna be the next Apple? What do they even do? I don't even know what they do. What do they do? No. Heating, ventilation, and air condition. How did you know that the heating ventilation thing was gonna go up? Guys, you know, winter is coming. You know, you've seen Game of Thrones? I knew winter was coming. So I had to buy the heating and ventilation stock, of course. No, I don't know why, dude. I just know that it's setting up beautifully. It has relative strength in the market. It's stronger than everything else for no reason. It's showing me bullishness here. It's taking off the way I want to see it. It's making stage 1s and stage 2s. So I executed a trade on this thing through the buy stop. That's it. That's all I did. And then it went into direction. And then it might keep going. That's as far as it goes. I have no idea what the fuck I'm trading. No clue. All I know is it has no red news coming up. It has nothing crazy upcoming. It's a simple trade that was setting up, that was moving well. I took the long. That's it. That's what profitability looks like. Real profitability from a trader looks like, I don't know why I bought this thing, except for it met my rules, and now I'm a genius for some reason in front of everybody because I caught a big move, you know? That's it. That's literally it. Let's keep going. So Ole says, what's the reason that you added the 20? What does it show you? Listen, the EMAs, honestly, I love them. They're just giving me all the information. They're just all the information right then and there. I think the best thing you can do is just study more examples with the EMAs on there over and over again. I'm going to show you guys something really cool right now. So I had someone reach out to me. I don't want to give away too much of his like messages. I don't know if it matters, but you know. Okay, basically, I'll just show it. It's fine. I'm sure he won't mind. So what he said was basically, you know, what's going on? I tested and traded the system a year ago, blah, blah, blah. He said, I watched everything. And then what I did is I actually went through all the webinars and I viewed all the moves that you predicted and I saw them in results in reference with the Mentifex trade ideas, and I studied all the context. I studied the ICIs and I studied how the MAs were moving prior. I studied the models and I studied everything. And I can't believe how much info I gathered during that time. It disgusts me how simple it is now. I made my own tweaks and now I'm going to 1,000 and it's beautiful. Look at this curve, guys. And this is someone that just studied my trades and studied that interaction of MAs, studied the models and everything. Look at this. Oh, God. It's just so stupid. It's so fucking wild. It's so wild, right? So all this guy did is he studied over and over again the webinars to see what I was looking at, why I was looking at it, the trades I might have taken or not have taken, why I took them, why I didn't take them, the interaction of the MAs as I took trades or didn't take them. That's it. That's all he did. Okay, that's all he did. And now he's on his path to literally the most beautiful thing in the world, right? Like, this is absolutely fucking amazing. And I told him as such, right? And I even wanted him to go a little bit deeper and give me some more information as to what was going on, like through his mind, what he learned. And, you know, he went through that. I asked him, you know, give me some more stuff. So he said the ICI was fairly easy to catch on. I took it upon myself to view a lot of your past trades and go through the time frames. You know, he even said it here, right here. I also found that the MAs were helpful as a means to view discretion. I never really took the time to look at them before, and it was such a mistake not to, because you learn a lot from them. Even with the members in the trade talks, the funded member trade ideas, they were also very informative. He said, it's crazy how I spent so much time watching vids and backtesting, but the thing that really got me were the Mentifex trade ideas. Who would have guessed? Right? And I've said it over and over again. If you can view prior action, you learn a lot more than just, you know, learning the concept. And he would just take note on this, right? This is absolutely phenomenal. So I just wanted to share that really quick. But that's someone that did that. Now, again, to answer Ole, you know, why is there reason to add the 20? Because it just gives me a little bit more info. That's it. Like, there's not a specific special thing behind it. It just gives me information behind the potential ICI that I'm looking at or taking. Because there's a thing that I'm used to seeing when the setup is good. Let's put it that way, right? It's not like some hidden thing that I'm like, oh, I'm never going to tell them. I'm going to try to cover as much of it as I can within the rework of this whole thing, right? But there's not like a secret behind them. It's just a question of like, you know, what helps me spot a better trade? What helps me spot a trade that's not overextended, but also has the chance to make a good move to get me into break even, right? That's all I'm doing, right? How are the averages interacting with price? How does that show me what accumulation or distribution is coming into that market? That's all that's happening. Sosa says, hey, I've been backtesting my system. I cannot get enough data because my entry is on a 1 minute and doesn't let me go back more than a month. Do you think it's like an hour time from following the 130 will be okay? You can do whatever you want. There's plenty of like software and backtesting tools out there that could get you more data if you really want to do that. But the reality is you have so much access to markets that if you just start kind of doing proper backtesting of stuff right now and forward testing stuff into the future using the screener, you can get a lot of data very quickly as well. So you go about that on your own, you know, merit. You choose how you want to do that. You know, like I don't hold data and I'm like, here's the data, right? It's up to you how you want to run that, right? There's not like one good answer for that. Nice. Looks good. Okay, so I'm just skipping over some chat here. This is when we were talking about our stuff earlier. Horain says, why did Men Funding remove the $2 million option? We just don't have it right now. That's it. But there's some really cool stuff happening there, so keep your eye on Men Funding, you know, if you're someone that's in the realm of looking to get funded soon. Yes, Satchel said it perfectly, right? He said, nothing is permanent, thus the account size you are trading is not permanent. Like Anton always says, it is guaranteed that you will at some point as a trader be trading a $1 million account. And that's like one of the best things that you can embed in your mind right now, no matter who you are. Please recognize, no matter where you are right now in your journey, if you are serious about trading for a living, or if you're serious about learning to trade as a long-term thing, there is not a question that you will reach $1 million in your account at some point, like guaranteed, because that's what trading is. You're going to scale. That's literally it. We had a discussion in the group about this, says Shellings. Someone asked when the right decision to scale an account would be, and I answered that the RR is your currency and you use it to buy new accounts and pass, or you can use it to make 10% or even both. Yep. Right? You don't want to think about like, should I put more money in? Should I scale up my account? Instead, you should just be thinking, I'm still risking an RR. 1 RR equals this much. If my account grows, 1 RR equals this much now, and that's it. And you can add on accounts. You can make a personal account. You can start segueing money into a personal account. You can have 2 jobs or 1 job and have a portion of the income you make there go into a personal or into a funded account, whatever it might be. Just make sure you're doing that once you have the edge. Don't do it just because you're like, I need the money now. I need to fuel the market or whatever, all these other people are doing it for. Another beautiful curve. Yeah, I mean, phenomenal. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Very good. Meant, what's with the new indicator candles at the indicator? Are they new entry signals? No, they're not entry signals or anything. I just added it because it might help some people. I don't personally use them at all. And I'm going to add a thing that lets you decide which MA it's doing it off of. But very simply, it just colors a candle when it first crosses back over like an EMA, like a 20... Right, you can see crosses over. It's nothing insane. This one's green. Like for some of you, you might want to set an alert with it, right? Some of you might want to use it on like a higher time frame, like context time frame. So like maybe you don't look at a market until it goes off right here, right? So boom, you get an alert. Okay, maybe I'll watch it. Let me look at it. It's not clear enough yet, so you wait. Right, another alert goes off. Okay, it's becoming clear. I could see this expand into a stage 2. So this is where you might put this on your watch list, and then maybe even here you put on your watch list and then you get the expansion. So it's not by any means an entry criteria, an entry signal or anything like that. I mean, if you want to test it like that, you can. If you theoretically look at it, every move starts with a green guy, right? If you really want to think about it that way. But I wouldn't use it as a signal or anything. It's just something that lets you set an alert. And by the way, I'm gonna put this in the remastered area because people don't know this. But if you go to your MetaFX Structure Premium and click on this thing, click on the buttons here and click add an alert, you have a few really cool options for adding an alert. That's a directional candle trigger on any given time frame, ICIs, triple M's, models, bullish and bearish MBs. So, you can set alerts for the actual stuff. I don't know if anybody knows this, but it's also going to be in the remastered thing, where I'm going to show you how to use everything. So yeah, that's all it does. It's nothing like a signal. You can test it as a signal if you want, but I'm not telling you it's a signal by any means. It's just a way to validate. It's another way to validate. That's it, right? Is 0.006 RR too high for a prop account? I don't know. Do you mean 0.006% risk? I think that's fine. Reviewing the first gold trade, would you still take it? What's the first gold trade? And on what time frame? So this is hard to... Oh, this one? This was a lower time from ICI, but honestly, it was a pretty bad trade. Pretty bad trade. This was a phenomenal trade. This one was okay, but also I think it was a little bit early. But then this one was really good. And then following up, the others were really good too. So I saw some people trade this one. Whoops. I saw some people trade... What the fuck is this? I saw some people trade this one. It was really... What? I saw some people trade this one. It was really good. This one was really good. This one was a little bit late in my opinion. But these were really, really clean. Really easy. And then, yeah, off we go. Off you go. Everyone, give me your mother's phone numbers. Yeah, there you go. Olay says FPBM, so I went over that already a little bit. But yeah, it's part of the new thing. It's just the cycle to a move. Never been in any community with a never been in any mentorship with a similar community. It's the best community I've ever been part of. Blessings, my good man. Blessings. Ment, what do you think about this 1-4? No partial with the MA entry. This was just 1 month ago. I don't see anything else, but yeah, listen, any system can work really well. So the one-on-one that I'm releasing right after this is going to actually show you a good example of that and why even a system like that is very powerful, Sosa. So I'm going to show you that. Hey Anton, I watched every webinar between 1 to 100. Okay, that's a good start. And now that I'm here in this webinar, I see so much on your chart and I have no idea what's going on. That's because I've been labeling a lot for image purposes because I've been taking a lot of images. Here, I'll clean it up for you, okay? Let's clean it up so you don't have to be too confused. There you go. Should look a lot nicer for you. Go to 5 minute. Here we are. Beautiful. Now it looks good. I have no idea what's going on here. What the hell did you do in the last 50 webinars? Just keep going from 100 onwards. It'll all make sense. But all the stuff you just saw was literally stuff that you've learned, right? So like, if I show you just an individual image, something like this. No, wait, not that. Hold on. If I show you an individual image like this, it shouldn't be too confusing, right? Because you know you've learned about normal institutional structure or basic structure delivery, and you've learned about MBs. MBs get created, price moves higher. MBs get created, price moves higher, and that's it, right? So when you look at that independently, it shouldn't be too confusing. Now again, when you put every tool together, instantly, things can get confusing. Of course, of course. Matt, your prediction came true. February to May 2024 results. Oh wait, where was it? Oh, on this. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. I told you you were due for a correction. Good to see. And then Sosa sent me his curve here. Yeah, we're fixing this with Dan, but yeah, I mean, this looks great. Really good loss rate, really good win rate, really good break-even rate. Moves higher through ICIs. I mean, look at this, right? Just beauty in terms of the movement. Yeah. Right. That's how markets move. Good markets move like a good equity curve. That's it. That's all it does. Is there a difference between futures and Forex as in trading it? The times that they operate, the way you calculate risk, how it's to do with contracts, so risk calculation. But in regards to markets, no, not really. Risk with options is definitely much more substantial in multiple ways. Yeah, it's all over the place. Satchel says, my biggest obstacle right now is to stop telling everyone I know who trades what they know is trash and they are learning from clowns. Come learn the gospel of men. That's a good obstacle to have, bro. Listen, you tell someone once. If you know someone that trades, you tell them once. You let them know kind of what you're doing. You can even show them the screener and be like, listen, here's what you're missing. But if they don't want to go beyond that, there's no reason trying to convince someone of anything else, right? Like, they will either fail and then find their way, or they will quit, is the way I think about it. But even then, don't forget, guys, people still end up profitable following a lot of these other guys too, because there are ways to still become profitable through that lens in some ways, I guess. But again, like, it's just up to the people. Some mentors are really, really bad, but you know what I'm saying. Alexa says, took 2 amazing trades last week. Would love to know your thoughts on them. Sure. RMK, don't know what RMK is, but I mean, you have bullish context, bullish delivery, generally bullish, a little bit extended, maybe even. 1 minute entry through some kind of ICI here. Yeah, I mean, it looks fine. I see nothing wrong with it. And then JER 30, we already know we're super bullish on this thing. We've been very bullish on it. Came out of this. you know, I thought it was gonna slow down for a little bit more up here, but it didn't. That's fine. Comes up. Yeah. I mean, you have, I don't like how, you know, you've had like MB, 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 and now you're like up here through the MB. So this is a lot. You know, I think that would be late. So this makes sense into regards of like, I wanted to see this go sideways more. So for me, it's extended, likely. I'll probably take a step back. Oh, but you are trading a 1 minute. Okay, so that could give us a little bit of a different change here. So on the 10 minute, right, you have MB, MB, and this is like the third MB. So what I would do, because it's kind of much later in the move, especially with all of these taken into account, is I would only be holding this for like one tiny move, maybe to like 18,750 is where I would expect this to stop. So like I would expect this to maybe make a move and it could just stop right there and then it would probably correct instantly. So it's like, it's very on the verge, I would say, very verge. But yeah, I mean, it's a fine trade. We can go, let's go take a look. What did this end up doing? Where was this trade? On 16 o'clock? Not here. Down here? Where the fuck was this thing? Looks like it was here. Was it? No, it wasn't. Okay, I don't know where it was. Oh, was it here? Move up. I think this was it, right here. Okay, yeah, so this is exactly what I thought, right? So look at this. Exactly reached to there and then falls off and goes fucking haywire a little bit. Actually, then takes off even higher. But that's why this had very little follow through initially, and it looks like it stopped you out. So it looks like you got broken even on this, right? You took this, and then this probably broke you even, and that's why. Because you're a little bit extended there. So the first one looks fine. The second one's a little extended in my book. I think it got, you know, you should have been in this. So like, to put it simply, you should have been in this move, you know, somewhere in here before this, like somewhere in there. Now you need to wait for this to correct, stage one, and then start a new move. So like anyone on Jur 30, you know, this is where the move was. This is where you should have been in it, somewhere back here. Right, so you could have started getting involved here and then definitely somewhere in here. But then beyond that, you should be like in this thing. And like I said here, right, the move, just like Naz, right, the move on this thing was like down inside of these areas, maybe late stage here. But everything beyond this is all extension. This needs to correct now. Like this is already extended. This wants to fall back down for a little bit. So trading up here becomes a lot more edge, right? Where you need to get out fast if you do get in. You have to take fast profits, and you can see that, right? It is for like instant profit, instant correction. And this is probably just going to correct into the start of the week, right? Because again, like you're late stage on that move. You need to find sideways now, right? So like this is going to do this now, right? Look, like this is the last time it had a move that was that large. Look at this move, right? And look where we are now. Like you're beyond that move. It's already made more of a move than it can make. Like look at all the previous ones too, right? You're way extended on this move. You should not be trading this thing up here at all. If anything, like if you were telling me you're going short on a low time frame here, I'd say that's better than going long. Because like this thing has given you the moves, given you the entries, and now you have to be in this thing managing, or you need to wait for a new reset. And this is actually going to go in the idea of the cycles that I'm going to teach soon, because like this needs to go through a new cycle now. This cannot just, I mean, it could keep going, but it's the likelihood of this happening is like non-existent. Right? This is where you need to understand how markets move. This is where you're likely going to correct now. So you're entering in an area where you're getting a lot of potential sideways, which is not my kind of thing, right? Hey man, blah blah blah. We went over that. Yeah, Dan's right about that. I'm just gonna skip that. The secret time frame. That is the secret time frame, guys. You don't even know what everyone's missing, guys. This is the secretest of all time frames right here. There it is. You will never have access to such a good time frame. None of you. If you pay me $6,000, I'll give you access to this time frame, guys. This is the true time frame. Roberto says, hey, Anton, I wanted to know how you will consider an overextended market regarding the MAs. Late entry from the standpoint of the context. If the MAs are surfing into the entry and validation, but are kind of far away in the context. So this is exactly how, right? Right now it's surfing, but it's extended. So I would not touch it. I'm waiting for sideways now if I'm trading JER30, right? Or like if you're trading German stocks, right? Because some people will look at this and you might start getting into German stocks because that's another way to do it, right? Right now, if you're trading German stocks, you should be watching for new setups and potentially thinking about taking a profit, because right now most German stocks are going to do what? They're going to correct heavy. As this goes sideways, they're going to chop around and then they're going to go long after. So you have to take some profit off of your German stocks, or manage, you know, if you're trading JER30 specifically, manage into this, take your partials, let this fall off or let it catch and let it start a new stage 2 and make its way up to 19,275 or so, right? But this probably will need 1 week now. It's probably going to wait like a week. Like this upcoming week on JER30, be ready for some chop. That's how you can expect things, right? That's how you know when something is likely going to go sideways for a bit. It could even go sideways for 2 days. It could go like 1, 2, and then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you might get your moves, right? But you need to wait for that. You need to be aware of where you are in a move. And Roberto, like, to answer your question, this is exactly how I do it. Right? Because the rule isn't it needs to surf the MA. The rule is look at the move, look at the stage 1s and 2s, look at the extension from that route, and then line them up. Because just because it's clear on a lower time frame or there's a clear setup does not mean it's a good setup. CG says, is it going to teach us how to tell if we're overextended or not? Yes, it is, of course. But you also already have a lot of the elements to know when that is, right? Overextensions come from late stage 2s. Overextension beyond the MAs on a stage 2. You have it from multiple MBs, right? So like this 1 hour setup, right? Multiple MBs have already delivered, or ICIs, whatever you want to call them. This is too late. Price needs a reset, especially with the higher time frame not having reset yet. That's how I do it. Shelling says, damn, this is crazy. I feel like I know what you're saying, but looking real forward to this. Yeah. Starting to feel like very, very old men. Please take your time. You got it, man. Listen, I'm always taking my time. I don't push things just because people want it. I push things because I've put real work into it and I can give someone something that's going to, you know, change the value they receive forever. So, of course, I'm going to take my time with that shit. Do you think it's important to learn Wyckoff? Not necessarily, because I have a feeling that EMAs in block 1 and block 2 are in the underground with these. No, it's not necessary, but it's what everything that I do is based on, which is why I'm reworking everything right now to give you my version of everything, right? Because again, my stuff comes from over 20, 30 different places, plus thousands of hours of my personal doing, plus thousands of hours of calls held between members, between ways of explaining things, behind ways of understanding, plus my own refinement, which, you know, it's just a different strategy now. It's a different system that I think, right, that I think over and do. Is there a simple way of knowing how long a stage 1 will last and when it's ready for stage 2 without looking for Wyckoff? Yeah, one way is to do it over and over again, like someone said, experience. Another way is to understand how price interacts with the MAs. Another way is to understand that as it breaks higher beyond a demand, right? So like, I don't know how long this stage 1 is going to be. It could be this long, but it ended up being this long. And then as it broke higher, I expected this to now start a stage 2 because it's made fresh money now. And it should have delivered up until probably like, you know, one of these prices. And that's exactly what it did. Like, I know we're looking at this hindsight now, but if you guys remember, actually go ahead, members that were here for a while, what did we talk about on JER30 when we were back down here? Same thing as NQ. They should start that delivery. Same thing now on NQ. We should have this delivery. And guess what? If it delivers, when it's up here, that's going to be too late. And once it's here, I'm going to wait for sideways before continuing that move if we get a continuation, right? Same exact thing. But yes, the simple way of knowing is by putting together the tools that you're taught. Stage 1, stage 2. Where are you in the stage 1? Are you breaking higher? Are you not? Where are you on a higher time frame? What model are you within? Has it traded above a certain point that allows it to potentially continue now? What does that trade above look like on a lower time frame? How many prior stage 1s and 2s have you had? Because when you've had a lot of prior 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s, the odds of the next one being longer becomes higher, especially when it's a deeper correction. And this one became longer to make it up of new 1s and 2s that then start delivering. So now you're probably going to get a few more 1s and 2s that are shorter term, which is exactly what I expect, until you're probably up at around 19.4. And then you're going to get a much longer term one, which either results in new accumulation or, much likelier, longer term distribution, and then restarts the cycle. Satchel says, yeah, I really like what someone in the group said one time, which was kind of the same thought process I was getting into, which was if price breaks below the 50 MA twice, it could be chopping, and now you wait. Yeah, you can have rules like that. I don't have rules like that personally. I just look at the price, but yeah. All right, I feel like everything I've been studying in section 123 is very outdated compared to what you guys are using here. Yes. I need to start with the webinars ASAP. Yes. Even though, like I said, and like I'll always say, you know, all those things will become archived. So they'll be available to everyone at all times because everything has been a buildup of the initial, right? Even the very basic institutional structure, right? This is section 1 material in terms of, you know, how to expect the move and if it actually makes sense to keep following it. And right now it does, right? This is why on JUR 30, I would be bullish, but right now, with a few other concepts put in play, I'd be waiting for a little bit more sideways before I follow this, because this thing wants to go sideways now. It needs to go sideways. There's no way like I'll be taking along on this until minimum like Wednesday, to put it simply, right? Is the way that I think about this, right? And I'm okay with missing a move if it ends up going. That's how I trade, right? Because I'm not here for this kind of move, right? Because like if you really want to think about it, ask yourself, if I bought here, just like this, how many times, if I've done this before, would it result in a much bigger move that makes a trend? Ready? About this much into a move. Let's see. Here we go. Let's buy it. Okay. Here we go. Let's buy it. Okay. Here we go. Let's buy it. Here we go. Let's buy it. Okay. Here we go. Let's buy it. Here we go. Let's buy it. So a lot of you should see that every single time, oh, what do you know? Every single time it's made this much of a stage 2, it almost always fails and takes out the stop if you were to enter it. So then the question becomes, why would I ever trade at a time like this? Right, that's it. Do your own research. The market's in front of you, right? Every market's in front of you. You can do this research for yourself every single time. The market literally tells you how it wants to move. You just have to be willing to like just look at it, right? So like, you know, on this, I said I'd stop trading it literally right here until it goes sideways, which it now has. It's gone sideways. Now I can start following it again. So again, if I continue to follow this system of like, I will just buy right up at the high, the second it creates a move that large, right? And I'm looking to take it long. How many times would that work? 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 How many times would it work? Right? You should start to see what happens when you do that. Yes, you might get 1 or 2 correct, but almost always at that extension, it corrects. At that extension, it corrects. At that extension, it corrects. So why would I trade a system that's looking to enter at the later stage of a stage 2? This is exactly how I think, right? This is how I created my experience, my insane experience about knowing, hey, this price is extended for me. I need to wait for this thing to correct. That's exactly what's happening here. You know, that's why I would never enter here. I'm waiting for this. Let the MA catch up. 1 or 2 candles, off we go, right? That's all it needs, but it needs to correct. So I have to wait for it. I can't just force it. QQQ looks like it's in a reaccumulation. Yep. Yep. Exactly. That's why again, that's why NQ, US 100, all of those. You know, I want to go long on this. It's telling you right now that I want to go long. I want to go higher to like 448 now, up here. Oops, up here. Oops, up here. I want to go up here, it's telling you. You know, trade me. If you see a stock moving long, take me. I want to go higher, right? Because again, our stock's going to go higher if QQQ goes higher, very likely. Because it has the pressure of the market pushing it. And everything right now is pointing towards that. Can it correct a little bit? Yes, it can. I'm okay with that, and then I can follow it. But right now, it's telling you what it wants to do. It wants to move higher. So I'm following that. There's nothing else I can do. Hey Anton, how come the Menflex public structure and the premium structure showing different ranges on this on the 1 week? They shouldn't, but because this one's more updated. I haven't updated the other one in like a long time. Having a $500 account, I feel limited to trading lower time frame. Is this feeling flawed or valid? Theoretically, it's fine, but it's flawed because you can trade higher time frame with any account size, really. Would you say that it is sensible to go for much higher RRs when entering with little stop losses? Sure. Sorry I'm late. Have you talked about the new workings? Somewhat. Joshua says, could you go over your partial and break even rules, please? At the moment, get involved. The second price shows a little bit of strength or trades over the next high of the candle. Move to break even. As money comes in, if it reaches at the moment more than 2RR or more, I try to move my stop with a low of a candle or with an insane burst and then move it higher into the candle and take a partial. I leave the rest to be managed with either an EMA, like a 50 or a 20 or whatever, and I put it together with the MBs. So like if price breaks higher and there's an MB low here and it's just at the 50 or just under, I'll move my stop loss here. That's it. That's my entire rule set. I've gone over it a few times too, though. But like even on gold this week, you have the same thing. Here, I'll do it on the other chart so there's not a lot of stuff clouding it. I entered the trade right there. Price showed some strength. At this point here, I moved to break even or around there, or as it broke this high, I don't remember, but you could do either one. Move to break even. Price began to move long. I started moving my stop under each candle low until right there. Got my first partial taken out right there. Then it started going, made a huge up move. So I actually took another partial right here, which I shouldn't have done, but I did, so that's fine. And then the rest, I kept trailing higher with the MBs until price stopped me out at this MB low plus this 50 EMA. That's it. Same rules on repeat. And I'm trying to improve these rules anyway right now. Like, I should never have taken this partial. But it is what it is. You know, that happens. Sean says, during my testing and use of the FMB, I made a rule that any price under the before FMB is stage 1. This further helped me further understand the stages. Yeah, you could do that too. Can you look at QCOM and Netflix? Netflix needs time. It's kind of shit. It looks just like the market. I'd probably just ignore it. I mean, like, it's okay, maybe. I don't know. It probably needs to go sideways a bit. Let the SMA catch up, and then you can look for long, sure. I mean, again, all stocks are going to look generally good because the market's doing pretty well right now. This thing was cleaner, but it had earnings, so you wouldn't trade it until after earnings, which it just had, and then boom. I mean, yeah, this one's super bullish. You've had the Yeah, I mean, this one's actually looking pretty good for a potential trade off of a lower, somewhere inside. Might need to correct a bit. But this trade was good. If you took this, it's fine. I had a trade just like this, I think this week on, which one was it? On GEV, yeah. I took this trade right here. It took it, and then it just simmered out, and then I closed it right at the end of the week for, well, I closed 50% of it, just in case it gaps. So I still have 50% open on this overall trade, but it looks like it's just gonna stop me out. But that's fine, whatever. Yeah, and I took a small loss on it, but it's a half, so it's minus 0.12 because I have a lower position size on it. But yeah, those look fine. I mean, again, most stocks are gonna look fine. You just have to go compare them a little bit to the Qs. I mean, I think this one needs time. I don't like it that much. QCOM looks a lot better. QCOM's pretty clean, to be honest. Yeah, this it could bounce a little bit lower and then go, or it could just take off. Yeah, it looks good. Sure, good eyes on those. Let me see what the general screener is saying. Yeah, Netflix is not so clear. Yeah, QCOM's okay. Like here, I'll show you what this is saying. See? Yeah, it has some relative strength. It had a decent little flush out. It flushed out with the market. It showed some weakness here, but now it's showing huge strength because of the earnings, because it's at all-time highs, and the Qs aren't, or NASDAQ isn't yet, right? So that's huge strength on behalf of that. It's getting bought up quite heavily. Yeah, I mean, this looks like it wants to go. It can definitely get a trade on this. You know, if you were trading this, I definitely would say that you should have been in it like probably, yeah, you should have been in it here. And then end of the week you might close half just because. But start of the week, yeah, this could make a move. I wouldn't be break even on this just yet. Yeah, it's a hard one. Start of the week, you might go break even on this. Was this? I don't even know what this is. Not much information here. Hemel says, sorry, I need to go early. We'll see the recording. Have an explicit week. I'll see you, man. Bless you. YouTube channel idea. Catch trades like these and make up the fundamentals. Yeah. Hey, Anton, give the new emphasis of trading ICIs. Is SSC dead? You need to go through the course. Because that's not really how it works, but yes, I don't trade off of zones anymore, at all. Like, I don't look for like zone trades because I make a lot more money not looking for that. I make a lot more money just going for looking at understanding trends and how money moves into trends. When will the competition start again? I hope soon. Would love to know your opinion on EU. Well, let's take a look. Probably the same as every single week so far, but we will take a look. Yep, likely wouldn't touch it before I even look at it, but let's go and double prove it to ourselves that we would not touch it. So we have a really shitty like bearish bias slash going sideways for a very long time. We have a very shitty distribution or accumulation, or no one knows where we're going on this. We are still, for the most part, sideways action, shit action, weird action. Yep. Same as the week before, and the week before, and the week before, and the week before, and the last 6 months and the last year. This has not really changed. My plan of action for the upcoming week on this is to ignore it. Yep. Ignore it. Was there a video breakdown on the directional trigger candle? No, it's just a validation. Like, you can use it if you want. I'll go over all the stuff, but it's not necessary at all. I don't even use it. I just added it because it might help some people with their alert setting or whatever. This looks really good, by the way. Slowly but surely. Nice, man. Good shit. HP says, hey, Anton, I traded JUR 40 this week and the spread was insane. I risked $250 and it gave me a $550 loss. Now I don't feel comfortable trading this pair anymore. However, the context is very good. Yep. Again, like, I would trade this kind of pair through the actual broker of the German, like, stock exchange. That's why I don't trade JUR 30, just so you know. I talk about this all the time. JUR 30 is DAX, right? This is where it should be traded, right here. On the XETR exchange. You should have a broker with a German company that has access to this, or the US stock or ETF equivalent. This is where it should be traded. This is where it's going to be liquid. This is where it's not going to have slippage and commission and spread problems. DAX, Index, USA, ETF. Let's see if we have a US ETF. This, let's see. Let's see if I can find something on the US market. So, like, on the US market, you have, that's Europe. That's not going to be, I mean, let's look at it. You have VGK, which is Europe. Yeah, so that moves a lot like, yeah, so this moves a lot just like DAX, right? This is a US ETF that you can trade on the US market, which is a look of the European. And you can see the same thing, right? Extended now, had beautiful trades up. If you follow this, you had just phenomenal ICI buildups, right? Boom. And then ICI, too late now. Way too late. Manage your trades. Let this correct. Take a partial, at the low. You would have taken your SL all the way up throughout the week. All the way up. As it breaks higher, you'll probably put under this candle. As it breaks higher, you probably put it under this candle. As it takes off, gaps down, next candle's bullish, you probably throw it under this bullish candle. Small little up candle, you might just leave it here. And that's where you would be managed. So again, like, I would trade it in the actual market that it's coming from, in the liquid version of it. A lot of the time trading like JUR 30 and stuff like that with CFD or Forex brokers is gonna mean more slippage, of course, because it's not the actual market. It's like a CFD of it. Heading off a little earlier, I'll see you, Dan. Always a pleasure to have you on the team, man. Always a pleasure to have you show up. Third live webinar for me, absolute sauce. Let's go, Tristan. Mwah, love you for being here, man. So in that JUR 30 example, you consider the daily time frame an extension from MAs, even if your context time frame is 1 hour, looks fine. I do, because again, as you know, John, I look at everything. This is the rule, and this is the rule. It's important to me that it has a reason to make a move. Right now, JUR 30 does not have a reason to make a move even on a lower time frame in my book. So of course, that's how I'd consider it. Meant, is it okay to trade any pairs or stock if the price is extended from the MAs on a context time frame? Depends on your rules, man. Trying to filter out market open, wacky moves, and chops by using 65. Yeah, I've seen 65 get used a lot, and I kind of like it because it's really nice for like market closes as well. Like, you can see the last candle, right? The last candle prints right here and starts at, what is this? Like here. I don't know, you have to do the math. But I've seen some people use it and I just throw it on and it just makes, I don't know, I like it. I like it quite a bit. But there's nothing wrong. Like, this is the same thing. It's the same exact trade. 1 hour, here you go. Why use that time frame? They all have the same. 60 won't have that much different from 65. It's just what you're testing. Yep. I just like to be special, you know? It's like, if having this on here makes someone go, ooh, what's this special sauce? Then, hey, it's worth it, right? It's the same thing, though. Like, just, like, no difference. Yeah. I think when you use, so what I think happens is if I use a 65, the last candle like ends at, it ends like 5 minutes or something before the actual close, which is nice because it gives me ability to manage properly, or like 15 minutes before the actual close, right? Which I like, because on a 60 minute, the last candle is always gonna end at the close. But I think this makes it end a little bit before, which makes it easier for a little bit of management. But again, there's no like crazy thing there. What do you think of Nvidia this upcoming week? Well, you know, let's take a look at it. So yeah, I mean, we spoke about it going bullish. Right now it's, I mean, yeah, it looks really good for the upcoming week. You know, it failed to rally with the Qs higher, and also it's almost like weaker. It's almost weaker than the market, except for right here. Right, it showed a little bit of strength here, I think. It did. So it showed a little bit of strength here. So it has money coming into it at some point. Like, it's being accumulated somewhere, somehow, pretty well. I mean, yeah, this thing can easily make a move this week. Yeah, looks good. Lower time frame, if you're watching it or whatever, yeah, this can make a move. It looks good. You're probably looking at like a either beginning of the week, it does something like this, right? And then something like this, and that's gonna be likely an opportunity somewhere in here. Or, you know, beginning of the week, what are we looking at here? Nvidia. Yeah, you could look at something like this, right? That also is very likely. So yeah, one of these is actually going to present a pretty nice opportunity on this thing. So yeah, Nvidia looks good. Zoom user says, been a ghost in and out of the mentorship since 2022. Watched all the free YouTube since 2021. Never wrote anything in chats or nothing because I seen everyone's favorite response to any question were watch the course. So that's what I did. Bless. I joined before there were any indicator, sentiment viewers, or screeners included, which means you have to put in the hours of watching, replaying price, and collecting data to see how it delivers every day. I'm not saying you don't have to put in the work anymore, but it's definitely much easier. I agree. The new tools gave me an even deeper understanding to why everything I learned from the free YouTube and the beginning of the course happens and how it happens on repeat every day if any of this makes sense. Yes, dude, that makes a ton of sense. That's exactly why, even when I release this entire new thing, everything that's existed will be archived, because for people like yourself, you understand the power and the reasoning behind why this functions the way it does and why this is a very powerful thing to be able to use. You understand the clarity behind why MBs are used the way they're used now. You understand why MAs have been added on. You understand why these buy stops of these MBs, ICIs are as powerful as they are. You understand how institutional structure works in terms of price. So you are completely correct in saying that. You're not wrong at all. It's gotten a lot easier. It will get easier. You will get to be able to retain and take in a lot more information a lot quicker with the stuff that I'm releasing. But the people that have been here for a while also have the advantage of knowing exactly why everything functions the way it does. And in some cases, it might mean faster learning now. I can't predict who's going to learn faster, right? I can just put out what I've been doing, what I continue to do over and over and over again. But yeah, you're completely right. What's your take on US 100 and US 500 for this week? Well, we just went over it, right? All the stocks are setting up well. A lot of stocks are setting up well. The Qs look like they want to be bullish, so bullish. QQQ equals US 100 equals NQ equals US 500 equals US 30. These are all the same thing, right? NAS 500. US 500. It's the same thing, right? Same thing from last week. Bullish, bullish, yeah, still bullish. It wants to go. Probably wants to make a move up to like 5280, 5290. Yep. Nothing stopping it. Looks really good. Gave you the same setups this week, just like NQ. Now it's making a reset. Probably resets a little bit and starts to move higher. After 1 year of watching the course, backtesting for thousands of trades and forward testing, I'm ready to begin my first funded challenge. Let's fucking go, dude. That's very exciting. Do you think that I should risk more on a trade funded challenge? Up to you, man. Remember, risk of ruin. Are you okay with the risk of ruin that you're putting up if you're risking X amount of capital per trade? And if it is, then sure, right? And what does it mean if you risk more? It means you can get funded quicker. What does it mean if you risk more? It means your risk of ruin is going to be higher. That's all. Your thoughts on GU and odd CHF? Probably very similar to EU. Yep. More bearish than EU. For sure. I'm gonna flip it. So this is flipped now. What, you just have a choppy market. Institutional is there. That's good. Just took off a bit and corrected to the MAs. That's actually pretty okay. Like, came out of this. Yeah, I mean, maybe this can make a move lower. I mean, well, higher, but lower because it's flipped. Yeah, I mean, if anything, you want to go bearish on this thing. It looks pretty bearish. It just feels all over the place, man. I hate moves like this. It's just so ugly. So ugly. Yeah, bearish, but I would not trade it. This looks more bullish, though. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much down in the dumps right now. Maybe could make a move. Started a blueprint accumulation. Took off over this. I mean, maybe can make a move higher. Let's take a look at a lower. Yeah, I mean, you could look for moves higher on this, but I don't know, man. It just looks ugly. Like, I would not trade this. It's not my kind of mover. But yeah, I mean, you can always get a trade off something like this, sure. I think it's fugly as fuck, though. What broker can you trade on QCOM with? Any US broker. Oh, I turned on annotations. There you go. Thank you. 0.5% risk. Yeah, dude, this is beautiful. Really wild loss rate and win rate. This is really good. Yeah. SSC equals structure, S&D confirm. Isn't what we're doing now? Yep, just in a different sense, right? We're looking at structure across timeframes. We're confirming it with demand, aka the models, and then we're confirming it with an entry, an ICI. Yep. The OGs understand that the SSC, or at least the thought process behind it, is still there. It's just that it's moved from focusing on like a zone or whatever, and it just makes more sense for me as well that way too, to be honest. Do you think this is a good ICI? Maybe. I mean, like, again, like this goes back to the exact same thing I talk about week after week. Like, it's not about the ICI, dude. Like, I mean, maybe it's okay. Probably better through this high, and then at that point, yeah, I mean, maybe this high, and then you get to break even on this, it looks like, but it's about the context of the trade. And the context of the trade, even this week, the reason I didn't touch UJ is because I think it's been under everything, right? So the daily was like, it just came straight down to straight up, so I didn't like that already. And then into the week, I'm pretty sure it was under the 200 almost all week. pop back over for that accumulation. So yeah, maybe something in here if that's where you traded, right? That is, it looks like that is where you traded, right? Right through and around there. Flushes out. Now, prior to this entry, you have so many wicks. So many wicks. It's so terrible. I hate it when you see price action like this. Yeah, I mean, it's okay if you bought through this high. Through this high. I probably wouldn't trade this one. Probably would trade this one. But I just didn't like the context of it. I hate this. Like, this is so ugly. It just doesn't make any sense to me what it's doing. So I haven't really touched it. And then the daily went from like this 1 into Insta 2, right? And you're looking for entries up here before it's proven any version of bullishness, I feel like. So I think any kind of entry here is likely gonna get shit on. You know, I'm just waiting on this thing as well. It needs some time to set up, in my opinion. Like, sideways a bit more, maybe. Like, this is really weird. I don't usually see price action do this kind of thing with MAs and work well. This is great, on the other hand. Right? This is clean. If this happens here, that's a different story. But this is not my kind of trade. And again, I don't think is this a good ICI? No, like, it's not really how it works. In my opinion, taking into account everything, no, I don't like that trade. Satchel says, got to dip and go get groceries for the week. Gonna finish the YB later when posted. I'll see you, man. What's a good broker to trade stocks? I use Thinkorswim, TD Ameritrade. A lot of US Red news coming up this week. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of currencies look like shit. They look like they just want to shit the bed. All this looks like to me right now is all you signal providers and mentors out there that don't know what's going on, please trade me, buy me everywhere, sell me everywhere, take out inducements, and do anything you want with me, because no matter what you do, I'm going to take out your stop. So, you know, like, no matter what you're looking at, everything just looks like it wants to, on the FX side, it just looks like shit. It needs time. Like, it actually makes sense that this week is full of red news, because then it's going to do something like this for later. This is perfect. Right, this is like what you want to see almost. I don't know, how do I turn on prior events? Is there a way to do that? Events? Okay. I mean, there's red news every week, I guess, so it's not a good example, but like, look, the last time we had this news pattern was here. And look what we did. That was that shit action. You can almost imagine what this is gonna do, right? If you wanna think about it that way. But again, I think this needs some time to set up. It's bullish for sure. It's been bullish for a very long time. It had really good trades in here. But it was also wiki. But you know, based on how you're trading, this could be entries. But this just corrected like heavy. And if you look at the weekly, like this needs another week, I think, minimum. This needs to go sideways for a bit. Like, I don't see the last time it had one big down candle and instantly took off. Look at this, right? There's no example of a huge down candle off of a high and then it continues. Look at this. In the last how long? Let's find the last time this happened and then price continued. Right? Look. No. Right? No. See, it took 2 weeks here. When's the last time it had one down candle and then continued? Like, really study the price. No. One down candle, then waited, then started taking off again. No. One down candle. Sideways, then went. No. One down candle, then had another, went sideways, then went. No. None of these meet one big candle, then it continued down. When was the last time it had one big down candle, then continued? I don't see a single time that I can find right now that this happened. One big down candle, had to go sideways more. Okay, so basically, let me draw a line here. This hasn't made a move off of one down candle like that in over 23 years, right? So then the question becomes, what the fuck makes you think that because you're trading now, this is going to result in a continuation move right now? You should be able to just understand that price wants to go sideways now or down before then starting a new move, right? Do the math. Literally, do the math of the thing you're looking at. This thing has never proven to make a move off of a move like this, ever. Today, this week, might be the first time. Now, I'm not going to bank on the fact that it's going to do that, right? I'm just going to let this thing fuck off for a while until it's ready. So I would ignore it, but that's just me. Lenovo says, is forward testing necessary before going to any funded challenge? I mean, if you think everything is easy and everything makes sense and you understand how spread and slippage and everything works, run it. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I recommend it because you get to experience it in the live market. You get to understand how you're actually going to be trading, how you're going to be showing up every day to do the same thing, what it actually looks like to do it live. But by all means, you know, you can go down whatever path works for you, right? I just talk about the fact that forward testing is quite vital. It's very important. But that just depends on you. You can do whatever you want. Can you look at TJX? Oops, Sunday. I mean, it's in reaccumulation. It moves with the market. It's literally moving with the market. And now it needs to go sideways. I mean, it looks exactly like the Qs. There's like no difference. It's not a standout to me, so as a result, I wouldn't follow it. I try to look for standouts in terms of like the movement, right? Like, Fix was a standout because it showed that it had a willingness to go before any of the Qs could. Like, if you look at this day, this is the 4th of April. It wanted to take off through this like ICI, and it probably would have taken off if the markets were strong. And on that same day, this thing was like down here. It couldn't make any way through the high, and then it corrected like for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days straight. 6 days straight, while this thing, even in the correction, was getting bought up. Right? So like this thing was telling you, you know, this is what this stock was telling me, right? Please take the pressure off me. I want to go higher, right? The second the Qs or NAS goes higher, I'm going to fucking run, right? This is what this stock was telling me back here. So all I have to wait now is for it to line up a little bit further with the Qs and not fall off greatly. And then it kept telling me that. And then all of a sudden, the second the foot got lifted and this started to make a little move, this thing said, hasta la vista, baby. I'm off to new fucking highs, you know? Now, TJX, on the other hand, said, oh, the market's weak. I'm weak with the market. Oh, the market falls for a bunch of days. I'm going to fall with it for a while. Oh, the market went up. I'm going up. Oh, the market's falling again. I'm just going to wick back under the MAs and sit here. While the Qs, right, does the same thing. Finds the MAs, wicks just under them, and gets bought up to the MA. While this thing says, listen, I'm going to fall way below them and then get bought back up to the MA, right? And now the market's going up, so I'll go up with it. So, like, this is telling me it's just like the market. So you might as well just trade this instead because it's going to be as strong as it, right? Let's take a look at AY now. AY is also on the NASDAQ. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What do we got here? So falls off with the market. It does rally a lot more than the market though, right? Yeah, I mean, it rallies a lot more. 3rd of May. Again, this is where you want to use a lot of the relative strength because, again, you're just looking at stocks and stocks are going to follow. Yeah, I mean, this has a lot of strength for sure, but it's very bearish. It's in redistribution here. Let's see the weekly. The weekly's in distribution, right? The monthly in distribution, not even over the MAs. So, like, this is asking to lose money. This is saying, like, I hope I found the low and I hope this now pops higher. So, again, this is something that I probably wouldn't touch. I'm assuming. Yes, it's showing a lot of strength here, but this strength is like unfounded because it's very different in regards to its higher time frame context. However, you know, if the daily is even your higher time frame, like at minimum, this is the first time it's made its way over this. Earnings came out, so then it popped. It stopped for a little bit, and then the last 2 days it's taken off. But like the last 2 days, even NQ, it's made a push already beyond the high. So like this thing is showing me weakness, if anything, right? Like yes, it's gapping, but it's kind of weak. Like it's a little bit weak. I don't know. You might have had a play in here off the lowers. FMB, this thing fails down, FMB, MB. Yeah, so like here, this is like the only play I maybe see, but even then I would not trade it personally. So again, like we can still find trades that work, right? And they do make money. But I don't know. For me personally, I look at this, I don't like it overall. What about Bitcoin? Well, I'm going to GBTC. You know, it's the same old story. Right now it's pausing. So like if we take a look at this, I haven't watched this since I got out of it, like around here. I started watching it again last week here, and then it failed down, so I stopped watching it again. But yeah, it's building a potential move, right? So you're still very bullish on this thing for sure. It started its like bigger correction. Stage 1 popped up. Stage 1, yeah, it can definitely make a stage 2, but you need to see this thing like start making its way over demand, right? So you're waiting for this on a lower time frame to move into demand or accumulation or something along those lines. Right now, you can see you're kind of in overall redistribution right now. So like what I want to see on this to start going long on this thing is it would probably need to like either push down further, right? Then start making MB breaks long, right? And then go into bullishness and become bullish, and then you can trade it as such. And start taking it long. Or, right, similarly, you could start making institutional, so like it goes higher, maybe breaks again. You have some institutional basis of a structure now going into this thing. Then you either get a flush out, and you can start entering it, you know, like up inside of these areas here, or through the ICIs higher, right? But right now, I would not touch it. This needs time to now set up, right? This thing it's still on the downside of price, right? It's still moving to the downside. So this thing needs to go into accumulation or some form of accumulation. And then if we look at this, right, you have that bullishness, right? Like we spoke about, we know it's bullish on the higher, but look at this, right? This needs to roll over a little bit, right? Like compare the trade here, right? And what this looks like to the trade I just took this week here. And then what this looks like, okay? So like there's a big difference there now with what the market's overall telling you. Even when price was moving down here and was at the lows, I'm pretty sure it was all still bullish. So like back here, before even these setups came to fruition, I believe it was still bullish. Yes, like 1 hour was still in reaccumulation. 4 hour was in accumulate, yeah. So everything was in accumulation, right? Yeah. So like that's a huge difference. In terms of like why I'm not touching Bitcoin right now, right? It hasn't rolled over into being more bullish, right? Because the thing is, I don't need to buy the price. I don't need to buy this market down here and hope that it makes a move, because the reality is if it starts making this move, it's making a move to like here or like here, right? So like I'm not going to try and predict it here to get here, here to get here, here to get here, here to get here, here to get here. I'm going to let this thing show me wants to go long and then get in and just ride it higher, right? I'm interested in riding a trend, not predicting the start of a trend, right? Like here's a good example, right? I did not get involved in this thing here or here, even though this was okay. Like you could kind of get involved. This is where your first area to get involved could be. I even spoke about this entry. I didn't take it, but you could have gotten involved here. And then it would have started. And even here, it would have kept you in. So you would have stayed in this move and taken it all the way higher. And then I waited till here to get in or here to get in. That's where I traded. And then you could have even waited till here to get in. And then let me ask you, even if you got in here, did you miss the bulk of the move that then came from it? right? The answer is no. So the thing you should always look for is like the last possible point that proves that the trend wants to move, because at that point, that's when you're going to ride out a win, right? I'm not really interested in the stages where, you know, we're down here. Let it get over, let it then set up. That's exactly what this did, and then it made a beautiful move. So that's what I want to see. Here's a little follow-up on the last week's outlook on copper. I'd appreciate another few RRs worth of outlook, please. Last week you said it needs time. Yeah, look at this. It gave you time, and boom, then the entries came, and that's where you made your money. Like, this is perfection. This is exactly what you want to see, right? We literally spoke about this last week. Again, one of the reasons you should be here for the recent 10 to 20 webinars, right? Exactly why, right? Yeah, needed time, gave it time, and off we go, right? Right through the highs, off you go for good trades. Yeah, just perfection, right? Perfection. Is this copper? Am I on the right thing right now? Looks like I am. Okay, cool. Yeah, it needed that time. It got that time, and then off it went to like new highs. Now again, like same thing. You're trading a little bit of a lower time frame. You're now just caught up into the stage one. Yeah, upcoming week, it's good to go long. There's probably going to be some really nice longs on this thing. I would not be surprised. Like, it's in beautiful accumulation. It's taking off. It just flushed out. I mean, because of that, it might need a tiny bit of time, which makes sense. So like maybe a day of time, and then you're looking at, you know, yeah, it looks good. I mean, copper looks fine. It looks like it wants to go bullish. If you have the time, could you walk us through the thought process of how you choose what pairs you want to trade for the upcoming week and how you go through the top-down analysis? The exact same way that I have the last few weeks, right? So like the Qs, NASDAQ. Okay, cool. It's an empty chart, right? Yes, it is. Okay. So step one of this thing was, and we were doing this since like back here, but we'll do it again here, was what's the market telling me, right? It's telling me it wants to be bullish. Okay, step one is complete. I know it wants to generally be bullish. It's showing me bullishness. It's accumulating quite heavily. Let me figure out if there's a reason that I can be a trader on this. You know, I can start with the weekly if I want. Institutionally, right, structure's there. It wants to move long. There's nothing stopping this thing from going long, whether you draw it like that, whether you draw it like this, it doesn't really matter. It wants to go long. Institutionally, nothing's kind of in the way. It's relatively fresh in terms of how it's moving. Then you can go to the stages. Stage-wise, you know, you had the stage 1 and the 2, a 1 and the 2, a 1 and the 2, a longer-term 1 that was made up of new 1s and 2s, and 1s and 2s, and 1s and 2s. Now you're having a 1, or a longer-term 1, however you want to see it. Now that's starting a 2. So this has multiple reasons already that it wants to continue. Like, nothing's stopping it from continuing. So already I know that this thing, if I can line it up with something on a lower time frame, is relatively going to be really clean. It wants to kind of go. So let me see if I can do that, right? Can I line it up? Now last week we were over here, right? Wait, were we? What's that? Thursday. Okay, Friday. Last week we ended here, and I said, okay, you know, you got the same thing going. Accumulation-wise, you're in reaccumulation. It's moving bullish. Institutionally, you're moving bullish, you know, however you want to draw that structure. We just entered reaccumulation with this move down. That's perfectly fine. And then from there, you had price trade over like this FMB or this FMB, however you want to put it, and just broke higher. So again, you're coming out of a stage 1 that started a stage 2, but I wasn't really interested in this move initially, just because we were still under the stuff. Went through a stage 1, popped into a stage 2. So right now, you know, the expectation is that this stage 2 can either stop now or continue for a bit, because it's just coming out of the first beginning of the trend. We can expect a continuation before a new sideways. So this is last week when I said, guys, this thing wants to go higher. Now, how it's going to go higher might be a little bit different based on the timeframes we're looking at, but this thing wants to make a move higher and then probably keep going in stage 1s and 2s, which is why it's likely to reach up into like this area here, up here. So that's where that like analysis came from. Okay, so I want to see longs on this. If I get stocks that are long, I want to get long on them because this thing wants to make a move. It has a lot of juice left in it. It can definitely go, and it can definitely start a brand new move. So, you know, I'm interested in getting in finding a way to trade this thing higher now on that week. And then in that upcoming week, right, you can now go on a lower time frame if you want. You can already start looking at this and like it's already there. Accumulation, moving higher, like you're already in that ICI. This is already making its first ICI out of this, and you can expect this to now make a run. And again, you have 1 into 2, 1 into 2, 1 into 2. That's how I have an expectation on an upcoming week. 1 into 2, and then expect the 1. Right, so now you should know where we are in this move. The expectation is the 2. Now if we look back at the daily, right, you had that 1 and the 2 as expected. Now that 2 could become more pronounced. That 1 could become more pronounced and go for sideways a little bit longer, but I don't know if it's gonna do that or not. So I have to play what's in front of me. And what's in front of me is that prices likely still can reach and keep going, especially since we're in that weekly stage 2. So, you know, just based on this drawing alone, and the fact that we're accumulating and we're in bullishness and we got above over the MAs, we're moving in MAs and we're moving higher, there is zero reason this can't keep moving higher now, right? So that's what I want to look for. I want to get position long if I can. That's how I run a top down, right? And I do it on every single thing the exact same way. Ask yourself what stages you're in. Ask yourself if there's juice left in the stage. Ask yourself how early in those stages you are or late, which will come a lot from a lot of the remastered like labeling. There's going to be a lot of labeling that you can do that'll give you even more ability to label where you are in that move and like how pronounced it's already been. And then you keep following it because that's what you expect out of price, right? Just like I just drew it. 1 into 2, 1, yeah, into 2. So upcoming week, you know, you can expect a certain thing, a certain thing to occur on this thing, right? It wants to go long. So I know that right now, you know, a lot of my stocks that I'm in, those 3 stocks that I'm in, they should take off. Especially with the market. If the market takes off, those should all just start fucking ripping higher, right? And that's great because that's what I want to be involved in. So you have accumulation across the board. So there's no reason that I can't trade it. Yep. And that's how you do like a top down on something, right? So now I want to take this thing up to here. Hello, Anton. This is my first live webinar, and that's also why you know, I traded a lower time frame. I'm trying to move again to higher just because I want to, but that's how this came about, right? You had your 1 into 2. 1 into 2, 1 into 2, right? That's the expectation, at least. So what did I do? I traded on the precipice of a start of a number 2, right? To go higher. Let's delete all these. Let's just talking to someone. So I traded this. I got in, and I got instantly stopped out for a break even, and then it took off. That's fine, right? Then it went higher, and again, like notice the areas I traded and why I traded them. Take a look at this, right? You had this like major kind of reset here and you went 1 into 2, 1. And what happens inside of that stage 1? I took an ICI long into 2 and I managed that higher, right? And then you had it happen again. I mean, this was just the better trade. This was a lower time frame trade. It's on a 3-minute, I think. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. Oh yeah, and this is the price John asked me about. Yeah, like I fully ignored this part right here. This is very ugly. Makes sense why I ignored it. Very choppy and wicky. This is where I traded gold, I think. Gold was much cleaner. But yeah, like same thing here. You have the 1 into like a 2 or the next 1 into 2, 1. You can see where the entry was right through the high to start a 2 to go higher. And then again, it kind of reset a bit up here. 1 into 2, 1, and you can see where I entered. Trying to enter through the high for this, and then I got stopped out, and the price rolled over, and I got stopped out of all my trades. Right, and that was my and that was it. That's all I could do. Again, the market is just made up of stage 1 to 2, and then it happens within clear markets and then horrible markets, and then you can analyze the correlation between certain markets with others and decide which ones are going to be stronger or potentially stronger, and then you trade the ones that are clear and strong, and then you manage your risk, right? That's it. Hello, Anton. This is my first live webinar. I've completed the first 5 sections. I noticed there's been a shift from WMBs. Yes, sir. I plan to watch all of them, but could you advise on where to start? You can always go from 100 onwards, but I would watch the video in #welcome and read the little thing there. Plus, as I said myself, like hopefully over the next week or two, I'm able to start getting a lot of this stuff out to you guys. All right, like, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I need to organize it in a way that's going to make a lot of sense to anybody watching it. So that's my plan right now. Okay. But that should be out very soon as well for a lot of you. Do you think that 3 to 4% risk of ruin on a funded challenge is good? Up to you, but that sounds fine. Why do you switch from trailing a second MB low to the current one in some circumstances? Just based on the MAs. And I want to protect more of the money, you know? This is my only trade on UJ, ended up being a break even. I mean, yeah, this was like a later stage almost too, right? Like back here. If anything, like I like this one more, where you would have entered off of like something in here. Like if this came up and then gave you an entry here, that's where I'd probably enter, right? Did you do that? Okay, so it didn't really do that. It just left this high in play, right? So here, you know, there wasn't really anything to trade off of it. But I'm glad you got your break even. Repacing the follow-up. You ignored this first big break up because of bearish institutional structure. Why doesn't it count as a bullish institutional break in your eyes? Because even if it did, there was no entry there, John. It moved bullish and instantly flushed out to brand new lows. It doesn't matter. Regardless, right? There's nothing to analyze there because it doesn't even give you a trade. Hey, Antoine, is it okay if we watch the entire course according to the order in which all the videos are published? Of course. All right, big zoomed out photo, but it looks like you traded this move all the way up. That's really nice. Very saucy webinar, no problem, man. Why did you change the EMA's colors? Normally 200 is red. Because you see the colors of the EMAs are what actually make me profitable. When this one was blue, I was losing money. And the second I made it black, my world changed. Because I changed the colors around. That's really it, man. Like there's nothing special about the colors. It's just eyes. My eyes were more adjusted to the black and red, so I made the black and red the main ones, which is what the main price moves with, and I made these lighter. That's it, right? Appreciate the great info. See ya, Dante. I appreciate you, man. Great Webby, especially regarding the stage 1s and 2s. I'm glad you enjoyed it, JD. Thank you, man. Aid says he changed the colors on his chart to match mine, and it actually helps. Well, there you go, right? My eyes are just more adjusted. Like, our eyes are more adjusted to black and red, right? Than these. Like, if you close your eyes... Ready? What colors do you see? My head instantly went to this red... and this red and black. Okay, so if that's what my eyes go to instantly, and those are the main ones I'm using to get potentially positioned, I'm gonna get on those, and then I'll look at the others after and be like, okay, is the 50 maybe sloping up? Is the 200 like in an area that makes sense? Blah, 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 right? That's all. Like, again, guys, don't think the colors are what makes or breaks the system, but I just put stuff together based on what just works for me, right? Of course. It doesn't matter what colors you use, guys, okay? Fucking change everything for all I care, you know? Like, there you go. Right, the orange just hurts my eyes, so I'll use my colors instead. There you go. Okay, don't go crazy, guys. Just use colors that are easy for you or make you happy, or follow mine. I don't care, right? Why do I use a red one? Because this one instantly shows me where I am, right? Like if I'm on a daily and I highlight this high or this high, and then I go to a lower, my eyes instantly would go to this red. Boom, I know exactly where this red is, right? Watch this. If I do the same thing, but with a black line, okay? To a black line, it's a lot harder to see. I'm like, what the fuck is this? There it is. That's it, guys. It's nothing special. I just have a color that makes it easy for me to see shit. All right. Because like now, if I look back here, the first thing I see is this black and red, right? And I can kind of follow it along. It's much easier in my book. Yeah, Schellings uses like, yeah, some purple and black. And for him, it makes more sense to do that. Like, I don't care what colors you use, guys. Come on. Come on, the colors are not going to make or break you guys. Come on now. Come on. Okay, also let's do a quick breakdown on gold and then I'll dip, okay? So, because it's Mother's Day, so after all, I gotta take out my girls. So, here, I'll do it on something that's cleaner, okay? I don't want you to have to get, there you go. Okay, so into the start of the week, right? I mean, we can go through the exact same process very quickly, but, you know, you head over here. There is one thing this is showing you. It's showing you extreme green. So you know, I'm more pushed towards looking at gold to see where that bullishness is coming from, or if I can still get bullishness, right? If we start left to right, or even on the weekly, let's do weekly. Yeah, there we are on the weekly, right? You have the exact same thing you always see. You know, it's this mini stage 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2, 1 and the 2, 1 that could become longer over time. I don't know, but right now we can expect 1 and the 2. Overall bullishness is met here. Price is not way beyond extended or anything crazy. Price just made a mini pullback. Can definitely start to move higher. And then if I try to prove it on a daily, you know, you're met with the same thing. You have institutional, very bullish structure, right? Whether you look at it like this, whether you look at it like this, right, I don't really care. It's there, it's bullish, it's part of a clear piece of action. You had a longer term stage 1 here, made up of new 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. If you guys remember, we traded here, 2. Now you have a longer term 1, great. And part of that is being made up of what? New 1s and 2s. And now as we're getting back over the MAs, I kind of had this like red line here to see demand kind of validate through this. You could also have thrown this down here. Doesn't really matter, right? Both are fine, because you're expecting it to pop back higher and you're expecting it to go higher. So you're having the start of either 1, 2 or 1, 2. Doesn't matter, but everything's pointing, at least at the start of the week, that price wanted to make its way up to here and then maybe pause again before going or keep going. So I really wanted to get positioned. So that's really where that idea initially came from. So as I step down to like a 1 hour chart, right, there's that red line. You can also have the red line down here. It doesn't really matter, right? All of a sudden, price takes off, right, out of whatever this is, this long-term 1 or this 1 into 2, and starts a 1, right? Touches to the MA. So already here, I was willing to look at a lower. I'll even put a red line in so we can see where these are. I'll put a red line in all these highs so I know where they are. And we'll go down to my entry time frame, which at this time was a 5 minute, right? And you can see price takes off through this, creates overall potential accumulation, especially institutionally, right? Fresh money coming in, then flushes out heavily, and then creates this little setup here that you could have taken. I just didn't take it, but it was a setup. Takes off again, goes sideways, and I thought that this was just going to continue, so I took a long right through this high, right here, and actually ended up taking an instant loss. So that was my first loss of the week, I think. Let me show you guys. Where's gold? Yeah, so that was that loss. This was this loss right here. So I grabbed this trade, and honestly, looking at it, I maybe should have moved to break even, but I didn't. It is what it is, and then I just got stopped out. So this was like almost dumb of me, but you know, I can make mistakes. It's okay. I'm not that crazy. And then price comes down and comes up, and it makes this little ICI inside of here. And I don't know, man. Maybe I should have waited again. I probably should have, but I grabbed this as well because I like that it flushed out and then started setting this up. And I thought if we could get over this, we could make a move and then maybe set up again up here. So I got in. I did move this one to break even, and this one broke me even. And I was like, okay, I probably should stop. Then it flushed out, but then it held up higher, broke higher, and I was like, this gotta set up an ICI here. And then it set up an ICI while holding the MAs, moving higher beautifully. So I put up a buy stop through this high now because I took a break even here, and I basically told myself if this loses, I'm out of this because you know I'm in one range taking potentially 3 losses in one range, or sorry, 1 loss, 2 loss, 1 break even. So that's a lot of trades I'm taking in an area, and I should probably stop. But then it validated, right? Started taking off, and around here, literally around here, I think I moved to break even, or right here. I don't remember exactly where, but I did move to break even quite early. Actually, wait, I sent this one out. Hold on. So I actually sent this one out before I took it, which I don't normally do, but for some reason I did. So let me find that for you guys. So you can see I sent it out right here. So I got in it, and I was already in drawdown when I sent this thing out. There it is. Beautiful. Got in through the high, got buy stopped in, and then sent out that I was behind this thing. And then I moved to break even. You can see, like, I moved to break even way before this, but I sent it after I was already in break even on this guy. But I moved it, I believe, right through this high, I think. So where are we? There we are. So I moved to break even, like in or around this high or this high. I don't remember which one. I'm not gonna bullshit any of you guys, but I did. And then price just started taking off and accelerated very, very quickly. And again, you had follow-up entries. You had this MB entry, this MB entry. And then if you're really late, you could try this one, but I probably wouldn't have. But this one worked out beautifully, right? Instant break even, boom, and then it takes off even higher. And you can see all of them just hold and go. And then if you didn't get into any of these, after this flush, you had this MB, and this MB. And again, like you can see when it's beautiful and bullish and it's like, it's fine. Like it just goes, it just gives you the move. So, you know, you had a few opportunities and they just move. So no matter how you entered this thing, you had an opportunity to go, but all good. I took this guy here and just managed it higher. Now, again, I could have managed it so much better, right? I'm an idiot. I need to figure out how to manage better so I can make more money, because again, I can do less work, make more money for doing the exact same things, just do a little bit less. Let the move make its thing, right? Like I still get emotional. Right here, guys, this is emotion, okay? When I see this happen, I'm sitting there going, damn, right? I shouldn't have partialed here. I should have waited for this and then partialed into strength. So now I want to take a partial off because it's going into strength, and I'm like, damn, I'm not behind this. Like, you'll even see it. I'll show you my emotions. Ready? Here's my emotions. Where are they? I will show you my emotions right now. LOL. This is me being emotional. I see this, I'm like, fuck, man. I'm giving up all this price because I had to take a partial here for some reason, even though I could have just not normally trailed it. That's okay, right? Look, you can see I'm instantly trying to partial under this low. Again, I'm not perfect, guys. I still have my own emotional problems. The only difference is that I still have rules behind the emotion, and I can improve it now to only make more money. I'll still make money with these rules, but I can make more money, and that's all I want to build out for myself. So I need to be smarter with this. But yes, big mistake. I'm an idiot, you know, whatever, all good. It could have just held through, and then Jesus, like, look at this. I could have partialed anywhere here, and if I just started moving with the lows, and gotten stopped here, would have been, you know, it would have been a whole different story. But again, I can't play the what if game. I just have to play the game that I'm playing right now and get better with time. Because guess what? That's the only way you get better at trading. Not by beating yourself up over like shit that, you know, you've already tested, you know works, you're following it, but you understand there are things you can do that are going to be better, right? All good though. All good. Mangy says, I love seeing you still make minor mistakes. This proves we don't need perfection. Oh yeah, not at all, dude. You know, like if you look back to how I first started trading, if anything, I was making every mistake under God's green earth, man. Meant, why would you consider that last ICI late? Because there's been 1, 2, 3 before it, making this one late. The MAs have started their move, right? You started a move, you made an MB. Off another MA, you make another MB. Then you make another base and make another MB. Now you're making another MB. Again, remember, it's not just about where you are. It's also about what has happened. This move has literally made like 50 MBs, right? Like theoretically, this would be viewed as just a late MB entry from here. But because it's had 1, 2, 3, 4 MBs before it, this is almost suicide trading this long. Suicide. Right? Because again, it's about the move. It's not about the fact that it's happening under this low. The move prior matters a lot, right? Like if we look at my entry on Fix this week, okay? And you take a look at this guy on the hourly, whatever, 65 minute, doesn't matter. right? Let's take a look at this, right? If you took this, even though I do think it's a little bit late, I would say this is still an okay entry, even though it's above the high. Why? Because it's the second MB setup, right? But if this had a setup here, then here, then here, and then you ask me if you should take this, I'd say, why? What is wrong with you? How did you miss all three of these that showed you money's coming in, right? So that's the difference. You need to understand that the prior MBs or the prior ICIs are still part of the opportunities in a move, right? So like for instance, you had like this thing that popped out of here, then you had this ICI, then let's imagine this move, right? I this is a move that I would take, but I didn't take it because I just wasn't watching, and this should have been a loss, and I should have recorded it, but that's fine. Imagine this move validated again, and then another setup happened here. I would say taking this setup is very late, or like even here, it's very late because you've already had, this initial pop into 1-2 setups. So like you need to recognize how the setups that you're taking or the setups that have occurred are affecting the next setup, right? Because when a move becomes extremely clear, ICI, ooh, super nice ICI, guess what? Even if this is under this low, this setup is gonna do what? And the people that stay in it are the ones that have entered here. And they get to ride this higher, and these people get stopped out, right? That's how it works. You have to understand that, like, just because the ICI is clean under a low does not mean it's a good one. What are the ideas you're currently contemplating regarding management optimization? Better usage of MAs, not taking a very, very early partial, really letting some strength come in, but sticking to quicker break-evens. So basically the system should start seeing more break-evens and then more larger runners. So really, I want to move towards the thing where, like, after a year of trading, I can look at 5 plays that I made that make up most of my gains. I think that's I think that's so great because you can do so much less work, and you have to only get it right 1 or 3 times in a year and make like a fuck ton of money, right? So that's what I want to move towards. But we'll see how we do it. Almost always trailing with actual entry time from MBs works best. Yeah, but it is what it is. Do you have rules for taking multiple trades in the same range? At the moment, yeah. If I take like 1 or 2 losses in one area, so like 2 losses in one area, in one range, is already too much. I need to kind of wait for a reset. Because again, like, if I'm being proven to be wrong because the things I'm taking are not working, I should not continue to take them, right? Vlad says, I bet this is quite hard for novice traders who want to see their equity curve build up over time. Yeah, of course. You are experienced and know what to expect, so you can wait for those big wins. But like you see, so Vlad, funny enough, even though I understand that, I still have my emotional problem, right? I'm still taking this partial because, oh my God, I made a big move. But like, theoretically, I want to get to a point where I enter this, I let it go, right? Maybe I take my first partial, like even when it fails in MA, so like I'd wait, and then maybe here, as it like breaks down under the MA, I take my first partial here. And then I let the rest run until it re-fails after an extension. So like it extends, then I'll wait for a failure. So if it breaks this, I'll close the entire position. And then it goes, extends, and then I say as it breaks this, I'll take off my whole position, and then I close here. That's what I want to get to. And then just that difference would make me 9.5 RR, right? So that would be 9.5 RR instead of, what did I make on this thing? I don't know where it went. Okay, 9.5 instead of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, okay, in this case, it doesn't matter too much. I did it pretty well. But in the future, it can matter a lot. These can be big, drastic differences. Or maybe even work to a point where I just leave the whole position on until, major failure. And then it's 14 RR instead. So again, it's a game. You have to improve the game. You have a game that you can play and make money with, but then there are things that you can do to improve the aspects or the rules behind which you play that game to really, skyrocket your results by doing the same amount of work, which is fucking wild, right? If you think about it. Man, look at managing with the strength with SL under swing when the money came in. That gold trade would be insane. Yeah, exactly. Like swing under money. So that's also something, like, I like the idea of managing with big bars. That's what I'll still keep doing probably. I'll make my first partial that for sure. John says, do consecutive entries need to be higher than the prior, break intermediate MBs or anything like that? Well, I don't want to take an entry here and then take another entry here. That makes no sense for me. If I take this entry, I want to enter a subsequent entry if I can take off risk of the first entry. Otherwise, I'm just risking more. That makes no sense, right? So like for instance, even though I haven't covered this fully yet, theoretically, if I entered this trade right here, now bear with me, I know it doesn't make sense why I would enter that. It's a weird one, but this is something that I'm gonna cover in the, so again, this is why I'm recording, not taking, but this is something I will be covering for you guys. But let's assume I took this trade. I would take this trade here because as I'm taking this one, I can easily move this one to break even. My cost average of both these trades will become like this price. So even if this one loses and this one, or if both of these, if this one loses and this one just plays down to break even, I'm just losing this trade, right? And then if this moves higher, I can move both stop losses right here. So now, no matter what, even if it comes back to break even, I make money. But if it takes off, I make almost double. I make double the money that I would have made instantly just by managing this one trade. So that's how it works, right? Like I would enter both of these because this one's already at managed. But I would not enter this one, keep it at full risk, and then enter this one and keep it at full risk. Because now I'm just, you know, I'm asking to take -2 RR for no reason. If I took both of these, at this point, I'm taking maximum -1 R. That's what I want. And I'm making my upside infinite, right? So like if I just trail with the up candles now, instead of making 1.8 RR, I now make 3.4 plus 1.8, around 4.6 RR. So all of a sudden, for the same risk, I'm making 4.6 RR on a partial, not even on the potential of a big move. And if it makes a big move, I'm gonna be in both of these with an average price down here with both in profit. So as long as it holds this, which becomes very likely because again, if a trend starts, your new stage 1s and 2s, buddy, they're not coming back to this price. That makes a winner that literally returns you 30%, 20% on your money for risking 1%. That's when like the game becomes a fucking joke, right? Now, again, I'm not there yet. I'm still improving myself, but that's what I'm working towards. That's why I'm trying to figure out a way to make this work for me, right? Find the good stocks, find the ones I want to trade, find the ones that are lining up well with screener or whatever, get in. What about after a loss or BE? Do you need the next setup to OP something specific? I don't know what you mean by that. Again, you know what I'm looking for. You know the setups I look for. If I take 2 losses in an area, then I'll wait for a price to make a new range or a new fresh price. Like if I took this loss here, well then I can trade this because it's not a loser. But if this lost and this lost, if both of them lost, then I'd have to wait for, because it would be down here, I'd wait for price to break higher and then set up a new trade like this one up here. And then if I take that one, because it's all in the same thing, now it's 3 losses in one area, I would ignore until new ranges. But again, you have to create your own little rules around this because again, like people are going to trade different action different ways. So it's all dependent on the person. Like, yeah. But yeah, this is a beautiful trade. Now I'm in this, okay? That's why I'm in it. Because again, like I kind of went through the thing here, but it's just been showing that it wants to go. And then this shows that it wants to go. So you put together 2 things that want to go, especially one that's telling you like, I really want to go and I'm getting primed up for it. You know, I want to get behind it. And you'll see the same thing with all of the ones I'm in right now. Like if you look at this one, you have the same thing, right? It corrects with the market, it takes off. And then right here, like if you look at this date, like the 2nd of May, if you look at the 2nd of May here, where's the 2nd of May? Right, look at this. On the 2nd of May, as this makes a huge move down and loses all the MAs, that same day, on the 2nd of May, look what this does. Does anyone see any differences? This thing not only doesn't make a huge move down, but it also holds above the MAs, gets bought back up while the main market's going down. So this is telling you that like, if the market goes higher, I'm probably gonna take the fuck off. And then lo and behold, right? I traded this ICI higher through this high. It opened up here, so I entered it here, double ATR, and then off we go. Took a partial, as it lost this low, and now I have the rest on to hopefully make a big move. And hopefully now in the upcoming week, it just flushes but doesn't hit my stop and starts a new 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, because that's how markets move. And that'd be very nice for me. But I don't know if it'll happen. We'll have to see. We will see, indeed. And then again, like for King, you know, like this entry here would be a little late. I would say it's pretty late, but it's still enterable. I wouldn't, because it's already made a very big move and it's made its way above. Like, it's already kind of broken away from all this, and it's already a little bit bullish, right? Because it's already kind of sailing higher and going higher. So like entering up here is a little bit suicidal, because the likelihood is that price corrects now and then goes, or corrects and fails, which is why this entry was great, because even if it corrected here, I'm getting out of break even. That's my worst case scenario, which is perfection. That's what I want to be. That's where I want to be. I want to be in an area where like the next move coming back just means that I'm not doing anything, and if it goes, then I make a fuck ton, right? Okay, guys, listen. We are way over the time. We are like we're way deep, and there's still 100 of you here. That's fucking wild. Thank you all for sitting in and listening and being here. I'm going to wrap this up right now. Okay.